busy schedule, boys and girls. And again, schedule, depending upon the fickle finger of fate from Mother Nature, is subject to change. Stock Eliminator getting ready to hit the track, though. And here we go. This is their final qualifier for our Stock Eliminator field, and there are a fleet of stockers. Joey Ship and John Netchaporchik getting ready to come at us. John over here on the right side. Michigan-based runner, 98 Pontiac, 350 small block, a B-stock automatic, fuel-injected LT1 combination. Joey Ship on the left side, the 70 Nova, coming to us from Indy and Ray Skillman Chevrolet, a carbureted 350 small block. Old school, new school. Final qualifying. Once we get into eliminations, it'll be a matter of slower car going first, quicker car giving chase. 1060, 123. Netchaporchik picks up 300ths of a second, 11:59 for Joey Ship, putting him about 41 under the index. Bob Michael up. Love this car. K-Stock automatic, 1962 Pontiac Grand Prix, 389. I do not know if that's a tri-power car, but I believe that it is. Anyway, it's just way cool. Big old 2-ton, 62 Pontiac Grand Prix, running in the 11-second zone. Tom Rambo alongside, wheeling and dealing, that first generation Chevy Camaro. Rambo with the 327 under the hood. Well, that 68 machine out of Washington Heights, Ohio. Motors through 11:15 at $1.15. Dead on what he ran yesterday, 11:82 for Bob Michael at 110. The air's good. The headwind is fairly stout for these cars going down track today. James Jeske and Jeff Rose, next pair up. Love the Barracuda of Jeffrey out of Barton, Ohio. Body shop owner has laid on some nice little paint work. 340 cubic inch, 72 Plymouth Barracuda. Jeske there on the left side. The Pennsylvania runner wheeling his 84 Z28 Camaro down track. 11:38. 116 by Jeske, 11:40. $1.13 for Jeff Rose in his Barracuda. Here's one of the new factory hot rods out of U.S. Det, Zach Ross. Ohio-based runner, but Mopar Drag Pack Challenger. Alongside Terry Knott out of Butler, PA, the 73 Dodge Dart Sport. Another 340 Mopar combination in the little Dart. And away, there you go. Super Stock, getting them warmed up. Super Stock, you need to be getting them warmed up, please. Zach Ross goes 10:09, 132, 11:75 by Terry Knott. 92 mile an hour lap. Bill Sims brought Bill going late into the program and our Indy conclusion that we ran yesterday for our stockers. That's a 283 cubic inch, 4-speed. Second edition, 66 Chevy Nova. Body style unique to 1966 and 1967 only. Rick Winchester. Gorgeous 72 candy apple red metallic Corvette working his way down. 11:35, 115 by Rick. 11:58, 112 by Simsprot working his way down the racetrack. Gardner Stone, your number one qualifier, 102 under the index. That in his Cobra Jet. We'll see him come up here in just a little bit. Jeff Blanchard, L Stock automatic entry, little 302 Mustang Coupe. And Tom Reese wheeling and dealing his Chevrolet Camaro. Cincinnati-based runner there on the left-hand side. Another 305 GM Mouse motor combination. Tom, a 006 on the tree. Nice reaction time. Like to have that one back for first round. 12:43, 105 by Tom. 12:03, 108 by Jeffrey in the Mustang. Here's Clarence Harding, Indiana-based runner. The Scapel Chevrolet Buick Copo Camaro. Factory hot rod from General Motors. 427. late model, fuel injected hot rod. Wheels up, wheels down. He's up alongside Billy Foder's 72 Trans Am. The old style factory hot rod, the Super Duty 455, 918, 144 miles an hour for Clarence. 1128 by Billy at 117 miles an hour. Clarence Harding in that Skeeple Chevrolet Buick machine sitting in that number 8 qualifying spot. Huge field. Stock eliminator cars. Here's Gene Lampshire. 4-cylinder Chevrolet Citation. George Wright alongside the factory stock late model Cobra Jet Mustang out of Michigan. The Cobra Jet flying down track. Goes 1054, 128. Gene's still getting there. There he is, 1479, 89 miles an hour. He picks up almost 3/10 from yesterday's run down the racetrack. Good lap by Gene. Gorgeous Oldsmobile up next. Jim Cakel, Michigan-based runner. 455 Olds 442, 1970 edition. That is a factory hot rod, let me tell you. Terry Dye out of Brighton, Michigan, the 1990 Chrysler LeBaron. Little 4-cylinder front-wheel drive combination. For the parts store manager, calls this car the Wild Thing. Everybody rolls in, lights the bulb, and away we go. Cakel, obviously, a few more cubic inches and several more horsepower. Taking that 442 down track, shuts the timers off, 1104, 120. 1373 by Terry Dye, 96 miles an hour. I'm telling you, can you see a 13-second 90 LeBaron, almost 14-second 90 LeBaron taking on that low 9-second Cobra Jet? Sounds like fun. I'm ready. See how qualifying ends and how the ladder shapes up. Chuck Weber and Paul Carr sitting and waiting patiently as we're waiting for the all clear from the top end to come back to us. Chuck, the F-Stock automatic, 1980 Corvette, New York-based runner, another body shop owner, another clean automobile. 350 combination in the Corvette. Paul Carr over here on the right-hand side, the early model, first generation Chevrolet Camaro. Looks like a fan belt became disconjointed from the engine it was trying to spin on. Laying out there about 1,000 feet on the summit side of the racetrack. You know, the problem with all these words I use, like disconjointed, I try to use them in words with friends and they don't fly. Yeah. Well, I usually got about 7 or 8 words with friends games going. People always accuse me of cheating, and I'm like, wait a minute, I make make a living using words. All right, here's Chuck, here's Paul. Here's Paul, there's Paul. Checkmate machine, stick shift, 396. Wheels up, wheels down. $10.51, $1.25 for Paul Carr, $11.14 for Chuck Weber and his Corvette. Motivating on down the racetrack, about 1/10 better than he did yesterday. Dick Kincaid and Paul Boster. Boster in the C5 Corvette over here on the right-hand side. Boster out of Pataskala, Ohio, over north of Columbus. Dick Kincaid, another Ohio-based runner. Kincaid Racing Insurance, the F-Stock Automatic, level 327. Chevy 2 two-door post, a past U.S. Nationals winner at Indy. Identical reaction times, both drivers leaving at the same point on the tree. 11:32, 114, no help for Mr. Kincaid. Paul Boster goes through 11:38, 116 in the Corvette. Joe Bellardo, another New York runner. Another 340 combination in a Mopar car, this time a 72 Plymouth Duster. Gary Russell, E-Stick, 350 cubic inch, 4-speed, first year, first edition. 67 Chevy Camaro there on the left-hand side. RPM's up, dump the clutch, work your way through the gears. That's Gary Russell's philosophy. He takes it through 1084 at 120 miles an hour, 1162. By Bellardo, and the Duster goes 110 miles an hour. Here's one of those 9-second stockers. Don Carson, Ridgewood, New Jersey, financial analyst. Little 302 powered Cobra Jet. Alongside the 396 machine of Bob Schmalz. I wonder if Robert is where the expression "you're killing me, Schmalz" comes from. 11:12, 117 miles an hour. 986, 135 by Don Carson. Folks, you have to pardon me. My mind takes off in all sorts of different directions. Keeps life interesting, though, let me tell you. Paul Dilcher's Firebird back here in the water box, waiting on Paul to get her going. Looks like Paul may be having trouble. Paul may be using the muscle crew to get himself motivated. Billy Baker, meanwhile, the G-Stock Automatic, 71. Buick Grand Sport there on the left-hand side. Looks like it'll be a single for Billy. We've seen Billy. Send Billy on down the racetrack. 455 cubic inches. Big old Buick power. Carpenter out of Westerville, hammering his way down track. 1180 at 109 miles an hour. Dilcher with problems on that Firebird. Gets a little assist out of the water box, and the next pair already in and pulling up. Here comes another one of the Copo Camaros. There on the left-hand side of the racetrack. And an early model Mustang. Here on the right. Rich Rinke up on the left. He is an engineer in the Copo division of General Motors. This is his hot rod, a 396 edition of the Copo Camaro. Kyle Jeltema out of Grand Haven, Michigan comes down. His 71 Ford Mustang. Here on the right-hand side. For whatever reason, that 71 edition Mustang body style has always been one of my favorites. I guess it's because you could basically land a jet on the back deck of it. 977, 138 by Rinke's Copo Camaro. 1104 by Jeltema at 120 miles an hour. I mean, that big old roof on the back of that thing, just huge, long, and flat. Chris Holbrook up now, Livonia-based. Cobra Jet, another 302 combination out of Varsity Ford. And Michael Dean alongside. How about a 1966 Chevrolet Bel Air? 283 cubic inch Power Glide grocery getter. Yeah. There goes the Mustang. 8.5 seconds to get to the other end of the quarter mile. 8:42. Here's the wagon. 1391 at 92 miles an hour. How many of you'd like to see a race between the wagon and Chris Holbrook in eliminations? Yeah, signify with the raised hands. I would. 14 seconds versus 8.5. That's a big old handicap start. Here's Mike Pastelli and Tim Bettinghouse. Postelny, a chassis builder, fabricates a lot of the roll cages and many of these late model factory hot rods. He's wheeling and dealing his Topo Camaro there on the left-hand side. Betting House, the cruising style version of the 87 Olds Cutlass. Little 307 V8 over here on the right-hand side. Postelny goes through 1024 to 130. 1243 for Betting House, 105 miles an hour. Roy Dean took a look at a 67 Plymouth Belvedere, 318 cubic inch, 4-door. Said, hey, that's a race car. Dan Condon alongside said, oh, this is a race car. 2015 Copo Camaro, another 396 combination. I got news for you. You're both correct. They're both race cars. It's all a matter of what you want to race. 1006, 133 by Condon. 1393, 92 miles an hour for Roy. There's Brian Merkel pulling in. The Max Auto Parts Napa machine. LS1 powered Pontiac Firebird 2000 edition. And the Chevrolet Performance Copo Camaro for Jeff Teets. Illinois-based runner here on the right-hand side. Another one of the factory hot rods. Factory stock F, the category. Teets working his way down track, 10:52 at 114 for Merkel, a 10:77 lap at 107 miles an hour. Brian going deep into the show yesterday as we finished up our race from Indy. Here's our next pair. Sean Dornan, Dave Bassett. Dave up in the Roadrunner. Excuse me, that's a GTX, not a Roadrunner. No meep horn for him. 440 cubic inch Mopar hot rod from the 1968 edition. Sean Dornan wheeling his Challenger down. Another 440 Mopar goes 1087. 120 miles an hour, 1088, 119 for Pazik. Dean's gone down track twice, gone 1088 and 1089. Here's one of our front-wheel drive stockers. Love it. Dave Hedges. 95 Escort coming down from Michigan. 4-cylinder, front-wheel drive, Ford Escort. Reginald Lewis alongside. The Camaro, the 91 edition, another Michigan-based runner, another 350 small block. Little Escort. He waved as he went by the camera. Well, Dave's got time. 11:78 back-to-back laps for Reginald Lewis at 112. 17:45. Dave Hedges runs it down the racetrack, and he's ready for eliminations. He's ready to take on one of those Cobra Jet Mustangs, Copo Camaros. Here's Jimmy Kibler, Ken Witcher. Kenny up in a 69 Camaro. Another small block, first generation machine. And a 305 version for Kibler. The runner out of 10 City Auto Sales over there on the left-hand side, the Summit side of the racetrack. Here at Summit Racing Equipment Motorsports Park. 1181, 110 for Kibler. 1139 for Ken Witcher. Supercar machine. 96 Firebird, another LT1 combination. Tony Goodman's A-Stock automatic ride, complete with T-tops. Matt Butter out of Pittsburgh, 23-year-old student, wheeling and dealing the 69 Camaro small block there on the left-hand side. I can't think of a better break from studies and finals than a weekend at the drag race. Yeah, Matt's 18 on the tree. Tony's 005. Both drivers look like they're tuned up and ready to go. 10:22, 129. Tony picks up a couple of hun. 11:35 at $1.14. Matt picks up about a tenth. Butter's now 64 under the index. Tony 77 under the index. Chris Holbrook's Mustang slid into the number 2 spot with that 8:42 lap he ran earlier, knocking Mike Postelny back to the number 3 spot. Tom Loskin, Brent Flynn, Brent up the 400 cubic inch Pontiac Firebird here on the right-hand side. Here's one of the road runners. Beep, beep. 440 cubic inch machine out of South Park, PA. Tom Loskin working his way down track. Driving through top end, 1090 at 119, 1157 for Flynn. 113 miles an hour. Copo Camaro, get your Copo Camaro. Big block and small block. How do you like them? 396 left side. Steve Novosel out of Troy, Michigan, and Mike Savoy Chevrolet. Billy Adkins, another Michigan-based runner, this time out of Livonia, who's got the 350 combination. Interesting that the supercharged 350 running down in the 8-second zone, and the 396 fuel-injected machine, and Novosel there on the left, running in the mid-9-second zone. So the smaller motor with a little assist, actually going faster. $885, $155 for Adkins, $963, $137 for Novosel. There's another one of our front-wheel drive cars. Ron Seibenek out of Perry, Ohio. 92 Olds Achieva. 138 cubic inch front-wheel drive machine from the factory, and Tom Russell. V-stick. Winds the RPMs up, dumps the clutch, and away goes the Russell Performance JD Byrider. 98 Camaro. Seibenek working that Olds Achieva down track. Meanwhile, Russell already through. 10:29 at 128. Seibenek with a 17.79 second lap. That's 76 miles an hour. Claude Buchanan, Ohio-based runner. He's wheeling and dealing that 4-cylinder front-wheel drive 86 tempo. Claude's got this puppy figured out. He's up alongside George Antrobius. George wheeling and dealing his Chevrolet Camaro. Ohio-based runner here on the right-hand side. Claude over there on the left, looking to see if he can put this runner back in the mid-16 second zone. A little bit more headwind than yesterday, might slow him up just a skosh. 11:29, 115 miles an hour for Antrobius, 1681. 78 miles an hour for Claude in that tempo. 1681, let's see, 1681 taking on an 8.4 second Cobra Jet. How's that sound? That'd work. Justin Soldat, Richard Zink getting ready to come at us now. Pair of Fords, 98 Mustang left side, 88 Mustang right side. Richard rolls in and lights both bulbs. That's a no-no. He'd get his hand slapped a little bit later. 302 4-speed for the early model Mustang here on the right. V6 power, 98 over there on the left. 281 combination. No stock automatic. Category it falls into, horsepower to weight. The higher the alphabetical letter, ABC, the more horsepower. The lower the alphabetical letter, the lesser. 1182 at 110 by Richard Zink, 1271 lap for Justin at 103 miles an hour. Here's Gardner Stone, your number 1 qualifier, the Go Stone Motors. Vermont-based runner. 74 years young. 2014 Cobra Jet for the Vermontian. Is that right? Vermontian. He has been 8.67 seconds down this racetrack. Chuck Watson's Cobra Jet right alongside. They go through both of them in the 8-second zone. 8:46 for Chuck. 8:66 for Gardner. Gardner picks up another hundredth of a second. He's now 103 under the index. Here's Dan Fletcher. Dan, who has been on a tear of late, winning down in Atlanta just a week ago. The Peak Antifreeze. Coolant Machine. Mickey Thompson tired. Copo Camaro. Mike Wagner on the right side, running the classic, the legendary Ram Chargers color. And that drag pack Challenger for the runner out of Michigan. 2 late model factory hot rods. Getting ready to roll and roll. Mike rolling a little bit deep into the beams. Managed to keep the top beam on, but rolled out a little quick. Fletch. Wow, imagine that. Goes 003. Fletchberg, 1056 at 105 miles an hour. 996 for Wagner. 116. Fletcher slides into the pack. 78 under the index and into the number 29 qualifying spot. At 996 for Wagner was no improvement. He was already in the show with a 975 lap from yesterday. Like a little quick maintenance, a little quick cleanup. And super stock cars, you should be warmed up and ready. We're going to be calling you to the lanes here momentarily. Super stock, get them warmed up and get them ready. We're going to be calling you shortly. Shortly? Shortly. Let's see, who's our number 53 qualifier so far? Brad Zaskowski. So far, you're the man for the K&N Filters Racer Appreciation Gift Certificate. But hey, we're not done yet. We got a lot of cars to go. Right now, Brad's sitting in that number 53 spot. Mark Williams and Bob Marshall. The Dodge material, Dodge Dart for the Eastland Crane gang out of Columbus. See. 340 combination over here on the right-hand side. Mark Williams pulls in. The Camaro there on the left-hand side, the Summit lane, out of South Charleston, West Virginia. Understand we have a errant part out on the racing surface again, so we're checking the top end of the racetrack. Currently, your top 10, Gardner Stone, Chris Holbrook, Mike Pustelny, Steve Novosel. Those are all late model factory hot rods. Then Tom Russell's car. Rich Rinke, Ryan Kirkpatrick, George Antrobius, Clarence Harding, and Chuck Beach. Sits in that number 10 spot with his classic Barracuda. Top 10 as we currently have it, but we're not done yet. There's like 4 more rows of stockers in the staging lanes back there. As soon as we get the official okie dokie from down there by the Budweiser and Summit scoreboards, we'll be ready to send the next pair towards that end of the racetrack. Mark Williams and his Camaro, Bob Marshall and his Mopar. See the thumbs up from Cyrus, our starter down on the starting line, saying, okay, boys, we're ready for you. We get back into stock eliminator, final qualifying. Mark Williams in his Camaro, that's a B stock automatic entry. Bob Marshall in the Dart is an F stock automatic hot rod here in the NHRA realm of stock eliminator racing. .10:52. Mark Williams has gone back-to-back consistent laps. 11:27 for Marshall. 115 miles an hour. Dan Colville and Al Wick. Al up another classic 68 Barracuda, another 340 combination. And another F stock automatic hot rod. Jay Stick the category for the Dodge Dakota. Yes, Martha, that is a 360 4-speed. Dodge Dakota making its way down the racetrack. Truck goes through 1194 to 109 miles an hour, 1382 for Al. Problems out of the CUDA. He slows up considerably from yesterday's run. About a stage 3. 64 Plymouth Belvedere. 70 years young, John Dinkle out of Michigan. Off and running, Chuck Bellinger alongside of him. Chuck wheeling and dealing, that small block powered 69 Nova. That is 426 cubic inches of Mopar car, going 1072 for Dinkle. At 122 miles an hour, 1133, 113 for Bellinger there in the Nova. The Baldwin Camaro, Gary Merrick coming up next. A dealer factory hot rod, if you will, from back in the 70s. Baldwin Motion modifying the Chevrolet Camaros as they came from the factory. This one a 402 cubic inch big block. They advertised it, sold it, promoted it, marketed it as the 396, when in reality it sported 402 cubic inches. Joe Martin's A-Stick 396 legitimate 4-speed Camaro goes 1010. 131 for Joe, 1057 for Gary Merrick. Merrick picks up a couple of notches on the qualifying sheet right now. Joe sits number 14. Chad Taylor in. The youngster taking the win yesterday in super stock, now wheeling the stocker. Willie down there making sure he's lined up right. 350-91 Camaro there on the Summit side. Ryan Rudrick, Ohio-based, 340. Stock automatic entry. They're on the right-hand side, and Chad Taylor tried to bring the RPMs up and rolled right on through the beam. Will be on the sheet, but down towards the bottom. There's yesterday's runner-up. Getting ready to come up. Ryan Rudrick goes through 1136. 114 miles an hour. Chad, as we said, with no time being recorded. Now we get back to Andrew Hill. Andrew, that red 70 Camaro 350 D stock automatic. Runner-up yesterday in stock eliminator finals from our race at Indy. Alongside Eddie Brown, Edward wheeling and dealing his new Cobra Jet. Chief Financial Officer out of Ohio with a 302 Ford combo. He rolls right on through the beams. Cobra Jet hustling its way down towards the other end of the racetrack. Goes through 9 flat. 153 miles an hour, so he's 70 under the index. 1083 by Andrew. Andrew's at 74 under the index. Bobby Gorky, Billy Owens. Billy wheeling and dealing another front-wheel drive stocker, this time the V6 powered Pontiac Grand Am GT. Runner out of Grand Blanc, Michigan. And Bobby, that 396 69 Camaro. Runner out of Michigan as well. Taking the toe down. And for a little R&R, a little racing and recreation here this weekend. Bill Owens Pontiac. Looking to get down the racetrack. Those 1034 for Gorky at 126. He picks up a couple of tenths. 1418, 93 miles an hour. Bobby all the way up to the number 9 spot. Just knocked Chuck Beach out of that top 10 position. 1034, it's 90 under the index for Mr. Gorky. Brina Spling Air coming up. Mitch Truman. How about this for a pair? The guy in the right lane used to own the car in the left lane until he sold it to the lady in the left lane, and now she's running it. Mitch Truman, though, the guy in the right lane, is your reigning division champ. Wheeling his later model, 95 Camaro. 1070 at 123 for Mitch, 1098 for Brina at 117 miles an hour. Steve Tchaikovsky and Doug Baker. Steve's up another Chevy 2, 66th edition. Small block, this time a 327. And again, a 4-speed. Doug Baker's 68 Mustang GT, the runner out of Newark. C-Stock automatic, 428. And it looks like one of our racers coming to an apparent abrupt stop down there in the shutdown area. Send the ever diligent track crew and safety crew down to get him. We'll get him some assistance, get him off the track just as quickly as we can. You can see him out of the car and talking to the safety crew. It's kind of like, okay. We've called AAA. They'll be here shortly. I'm joking. Doug Baker, right side. Steve Tchaikovsky, left lane, sitting and waiting patiently, as are the rest of our stock eliminator competitors. Again, super stock. Be getting them warmed up and ready. We're going to be calling you to the lane shortly. Super stock. We'll be needing you to the lanes. You'll be coming up next. Our Harley Davidson Sportsman Motorcycles will be following super stock. Spitzer, top dragster, you will follow Harley Davidson Motorcycles. Comp Eliminator after the top dragster category. Our Brodix, Steve Schmidt, top sportsman cars, following Comp Eliminator. That's the schedule as we stand right now. There's a lot more on the schedule, but at this stage of the game, we'll deal with what we've got for the next couple hours. Keep rocking and rolling that way along. Again, do want to say happy birthday. Hugh Goodale, our Racers for Christ chaplain. Today being the birthday, he is now 23 years old. 23. Plenty. No, I didn't say 73. I didn't say 20. I said 23. Phew. Good help's hard to find. And you'll be seeing that number up on the scoreboard shortly. Anyway, Budweiser Guest Services, don't forget to stop by. Sign up for the Bigfoot Ride Along. You can sign up all day today. The winner will be drawn tonight. 2 requirements. You must be 18 by June the 3rd, and you must be able to be here on June the 3rd to go for the aforementioned ride in Bigfoot. But you can sign up for that opportunity. Budweiser Guest Services Facility here on the east side of the racetrack. And again, we will be drawing that winner later on this evening. And while you're on the east side and down on the midway, be sure and stop by the Quarter Mile Clothing Store. They are selling raffle tickets, $5 a piece, for a McIlvain Race Cars Junior Dragster, complete Junior Dragster except for engine, clutch, and tack. We got Moser Axle Assembly, Ergel's Performance Fiberglass Body, Mickey Thompson Tires, powder-coated chassis. Again, it's a McIlvain race car. The McIlvain Race Cars and Summit Motorsports Park making the opportunity to take home a junior dragster. Tickets are $5 a piece. The raffle will be going on until Saturday, October 22nd, when the drawing will be held at 7 p.m. But you can stop by the Quarter Mile Clothing Store all season here at Summit Racing Equipment Motorsports Park and pick up your $5 raffle tickets for a chance to win and take home a brand new McIlvain Junior Dragster. So be sure and stop by the Quarter Mile Clothing Store and get that taken care of as well. Superstock, you'll be following shortly. Looks like you got the top end cleared off. Get Doug Baker and Steve Chikowski refired. Get that 327 warmed up. Ready to go. It's 327 cubic inch, 4-speed. And that little Chevy, too, for a firefighter out of Richfield. First responder over there on the left lane. .428 Cobra Jet. Off and running. Little 327 Chevy, too, though. Really pulling away on the top end. Looks like Doug's got some issues. Yeah, 1266. That car's not running anywhere near what it should. 1070 by Chikowski. Taking a little deuce on down the racetrack. Puff of smoke down at the other end out of Doug Baker's Cobra Jet. So we'll check that and make sure that that was header smoke and nothing going on the racing surface or being deposited down there in the shutdown area. So that'll hold up Paul Cambria and John Serrett, our next pair. 94 and 95 Camaros accordingly for Cambria and Serrett. Paul coming down from Buffalo, New York, an attorney by profession. Looks like we're going to shut him off and check the top end. So on hold one more time. Like the surface marked free and clear of any disturbances down there by our safety crews. So Paul Cambria, John Serrett, fire them up, get ready to rock and roll one more time. Paul in the blue car, John in the orange car, which is kind of confusing to me because Paul used to be in the orange car, or a orange car. Cambria C-stock automatic. Serrett a little bit more weight, or a little less weight in the car, is a B-stock automatic machine, and that car was not happy leaving the starting line. 1083 by Paul, 1404 for John Serrett. As DJ Reiser pulls in next. DJ, owner and operator of a tire and wheel business up Lancaster, New York way. Another A-stock automatic. LS1 powered Chevrolet Camaro and Tommy Pettigrew. Wheeling and dealing the 77 Firebird here on the right-hand side. Runner out of Gallatin, Tennessee. DJ making his way down track. Looks like DJ slowing up at the other end. He goes 1196. Tommy at 1180 at 110 miles an hour. So Pettigrew will move and shuffle the field around a little bit. Tommy goes from number 58 all the way up to number 18. And now that puts Matt Butter's machine in that lucky number 53 spot. Here we go. Sam Pierce, Chevrolet, Ryan Kirkpatrick, Copo Camaro, the Dodge Material, 360 Dart Sport. We saw Bob up earlier. This is Son Craig over here on the left-hand side, the summit side of the racetrack. Craig's 1098 lap yesterday. Ryan laid down a 938 ride out of his Copo Camaro. .943 at 140 miles an hour, 1093. Marshall picks up 500s at 119. Ryan loses 500s at 140. Jimmy Nichols, Julie Bierman. Julie up in her Pontiac Firebird, classic 68 Firebird, 400 cubic inch combination. And Jim Nichols, another A stock automatic entry, this time a 426. Hemified 64 Plymouth Savoy. The Mid-Ohio Paving, as we call super stock to the lanes, please. Super stock. Need you to the lanes, please, for your final qualifying session. Super stock. Come on down. Super stock needs you to the lanes, please. Jim Nichols off and running. Centerburg, Ohio-based runner. The Mid-Ohio Paving Inc. machine goes 1059 at 123. 1089 by Julie. She slows up 400s from yesterday's run. Steve Zorney and Brett McFarland getting ready to make their laps. Don't remember either of these cars going down track yesterday. Yes, I do, Brett. I don't remember the McCormick Motorsports Dodge. Steve, being 21 years of age, probably doesn't have the vacation time needed to be here on Friday, so would have been one of the racers that rolled in overnight. I passed about 6 trailers as I left last night. So I know there was quite the activity getting everybody in late last night and checked in. Another 360 Dodge Dakota for TCI. McCormick Motorsports. Former Jag Sports Nash winner. Speaking of that, Sports Nationals next week down at Bowling Green. A lot of these racers are planning on being there. I'll be there. Warren will be there. We might let Jay in the gate if he's nice. 1022 at 130 miles an hour for Brett. 1185, 110 miles an hour for Steve. Zorney slides into the number 28 spot. That puts Katie Sapanic in the number 53 position. Randy Wilkes and Rodney Long. There's Randy, still in the water box. Rodney, the Camaro's already done his burnout. Say, come on, Randy. Not going to wait all day for you. All right, now we got the burnout done. LS1 powered Pontiac Firebird, a stock automatic entry for the runner out of Zanesville. Rodney over here on the right side. Classic 69 Chevrolet Camaro. .1019, 129 for Randy. 1130 and 114 by Rodney. Rodney, 1127 yesterday. Right now is going to hold him in that number 60 qualifying spot. Jennifer McCormick rolls in. Jennifer H. Stock Automatic, her 96 edition Dodge Dakota, another 360 combination. This time a little bit older truck. Marv Robinson. 71 Olds 442. Another one of the fleet of F-Stock automatic entries we have here this weekend. I mean, there are a gaggle. 11:48 by Marvin, 115 miles an hour. 11:78 by Jennifer, 110 mile an hour lap down the racetrack. Caleb McFarland, Terry Nagel, our next pair in. Caleb, wheeling the Pontiac, another LS1 powered entry. Nagel with 8, another first generation small block Camaro. This time the 68 body style. Line Performance, 350 small block underneath the hood. Yeah, Line Performance. You may have heard that name before, like in Jason Line. Yeah, well, the family engine shop up in Minnesota. That does the engines for Terry Nagel. But they're all related. 10:28, 115, no improvement for Caleb. 11:10, 116 by Terry. No improvement for the early model Chevrolet Camaro. Here comes Gold Rush, Phil Langford. Pennsylvania-based runner, the 2014 Copo Camaro on the left-hand side. Louis Conkey. Stick shift, 305. Camaro for the 73-year-old youngster out of London. Spins that small block up, dumps the clutch, and away we go. Langford, meanwhile, taking the automatic route to the other end, goes 9:54 at 139. This Copo Camaro, 12:03, 109 for Conkey. Katie Sapanik, currently sitting number 53 in her 72 Chevelle. Small block 350 combination. Patrick Downing, the biochemical engineer. Means he takes care of all the fertilizer on the farms there at Downing Farms up in Michigan. 305 Malibu wagon. Well, when you're dealing with fertilizer, you're dealing with biochemicals. So therefore, you would be a biochemical engineer. 11:49 by Katie. Whoop. She just bumped herself out of that number 53 spot in that K&N Racer Appreciation Gift Certificate. Patrick goes 12:07. He's 58th. Katie jumps all the way up to number 25. There's Brad Zaskowski, another young gunner out of Grand Rapids. Stick shift, 305 Camaro. Chucky was the top 10 car earlier. Then shuffled back to number 11. 340 Cuda out of Carriagetown. Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep. Good looking. 68 Cuda goes 1092, 119. 11:27, 113. Chuck just put himself back into the thick of that top 10 battle. He's up to the number 6 spot. Zaskowski picks up a little bit. He's into the number 47 position. Louis Conkey now rides in that lucky number 53 spot. Joe Bellinger and MJ Quinn. MJ having a pretty good run through Indy eliminations that we wrapped up yesterday. Got down to the late rounds of eliminations, came up just a little bit short. The 305 Camaro for the auto upholsterer over here on the right-hand side. And Joe Bellinger, 66 Nova wagon. There's something about long roofs. Long roof wagons are cool, especially when they're running out on the drag strip. 283 cubic inch for the pipe fitter out of Louisville. MJ a little quick out of the gate. Joe hammers the tree. He's 009 on the reaction timer. 11:46, 115. No help for MJ. 11:95. Joe just moved himself up a little bit. 74 under the index, and in the number 43 spot for Joe. Charlie Downing in. Factory stock J, 281 cubic inch, small Ford stick shift. Downing Farms Cobra Jet. Jim Baburka. Copo Camaro on the right-hand side. Jim with problems yesterday. Looking a whole lot more better today. 427 cubic inch Copo Camaro. Reaching for the other end, goes 949 at 140, 1079, 123 by Charlie. Charlie's 1079, a second under. He got one shot at the racetrack. Jumped all the way up to the number 2 spot with that qualifying effort. John Kunsak and Kevin Zaskowski. That Copo Camaro, the red one there on the left-hand side. When we wrapped up final eliminations that got rained out in Indy back on the 1st of May, we concluded them yesterday. That red Camaro there on the Summit side, that was your winner. So John's already taking home a Wally this weekend with that Copo Camaro. Love to do it again tomorrow, making it back-to-back wins. 70-year-old youngster out of Pennsylvania. Zaskowski leaves the red light in his wake. Kevin goes through 1099 at 118. 947 by John at 143 miles an hour. Kunsak jumps into the number 22 spot at 8,200. Zaskowski's number 50 on the qualifying sheet, and we're still shuffling things around. How about Mitch Truman now? Sitting at that number 53 spot. But you know what? We're not done, because here comes Eric Campolito. 96 Chevy Caprice. That's an LT1 powered 4-door luxury cruiser. 18-year-old youngster out of Ohio at the wheel, and Aaron Allison. Stick shift, LT1 powered, 98 Firebird. The MSD machine over here on the right-hand side. Aaron yesterday a 10:32 lap. Right now he's sitting in that lucky number 13 qualifying spot. Super Stock, need your lanes, please. Super Stock, needing you to the staging lanes, please. Super Stock, come on down. $10.42, no help for Aaron Allison. $11.68, 114 by Campolito. Eric jumps into the number 39 qualifying spot. Now it's 76 under the index. Mitch Truman's short-lived position at that number 53 qualifying spot. He just got bumped. Looks like a little track drag, a little prep before we continue on and finish up. Again, Super Stock, need you to lanes, please. Super Stock, needing you to the staging lanes, please. Come one, come all. Attention in the pits. Attention in the pits, please. Spitzer, like Spitzer. Top dragster competitors, get them warmed up, get them ready. You're on standby. Top dragster, Spitzer, top dragster, we need you to be on standby. We'll be calling you shortly. Well, Stockers, I understand, are done. Gardner Stone, your number one qualifier. Charlie Downing. One shot Charlie goes to number 2. Chris Holbrook sits 3. Mike Postelny 4. Steve Novosel 5. Tom Russell 6. Chuck Beach number 7. Rich Rinke 8. Ryan Kirkpatrick number 9. And George Antrobius rounds out the top 10. Brian Sybek. Ron Terrell going to lead us off in Super Stock. Final qualifying effort. Cyberdex GTM automatic, 265 cubic inch, 84 Buick Regal, and Ron Terrell's Super J automatic, Chevy Camaro here on the right-hand side. 10-13, 130 miles an hour for Terrell. He picks up a 10th. 11:45 by Simonek. No improvement there for Brian. Ron Terrell goes through. 86 under the index. He's now up into the top 10. J.J. Twitchell, Indiana-based Chevy S10 over here on the right-hand side. Twitchell Racing, 350 combination. Chevrolet. Up alongside Young Rock Running. And I say young because he is, at heart, 74 years of age technically, but young at heart, Rock Running. Working the super sleeper Olds Achiever down the racetrack. JJ goes through 988, 132. That's a big improvement all the way up to the number 4 spot. Rock picks up a Hun. He's now 62 under the index. That's good for number 45. Here's Jeremy Stock and Jeffrey Ross. Ross wheeling and dealing the factory super stock Dodge Challenger, the drag pack machine. Jeremy, 92 Olds Sierra GT category car. Take a late model body style, put an early model combination in it, a little 265 Chevrolet, and he goes 1087 to 121, 1082 in a GTL automatic Challenger, 122 miles an hour. That's a late model drag pack Challenger with an early 318 underneath the hood. That's kind of a unique combination. Andy Cronenbrenner, GTC automatic. Chevy Cobalt and a 305. How about a Cadillac? Yeah, 1990 Eldorado. 425 cubic inch, all caddy all the time. 1076 for Kenny Sharp. 124 miles an hour, 953. Cronenbrenner picks up a dime. He's now number 13 on the qualifying sheet, a dime being a 1/10 of a second. Ray Skillman, number 1 qualifier up now. Factory super stock Cobra Jet, 8-second runner. 882 to be exact, his run from yesterday. How about the Shelby Cobra? You got a Cobra Jet and a Shelby Cobra on the line right here. John Stock right up the road in Sandusky, owner and operator of Wendy's. Got the Cobra Jet, goes 943 at 138, 880. Skillman improves a couple of ticks. He's now 109 under the index. Joey Wilkes up, his new Copo Camaro. Good looking automobile. 350 factory super stock J entry. And Bert Dawson, wheeling that Chevrolet Beretta. 316 cubic inch bow tie underneath the hood. Wheels up, wheels down for the Beretta. Came down just a little bit harder than he probably would have liked. 893, 151 miles an hour. Bert runs within 3 thousandths of what he ran yesterday. Joey goes 1025 in the Copo car. Brad Ross and Mike Walter. Waiting for Mike. There's Mike. Wheeling that 82 Camaro, GTF automatic entry. But how about Brad Ross? Gorgeous 340 GTH automatic. 68 Barracuda over there on the left-hand side. Pretty car. Nice colors. Looks good. Ran a 1039 yesterday. Putting him in number 41 super stock field. Fred Bartoli right now. Sitting at that number 46 spot. That's the recipient of the K&N Felters Racer Appreciation Gift Certificate. Once qualifying is all said and done. But as we saw in stock, that'll shuffle around some. Brad Ross. 1044, 124, 1047. By Mike Walter at 128 miles an hour. Al Ross up now. Old school Challenger. 72 edition, 360 combination for Al. And Ron Matcham, his new Cobra Jet over here on the right-hand side. factory super stock C engine. 330 cubic inch combination. Bulb split. RPM's up. And they're off and running. Matcham gets to the other end, 871 at 154. No improvement over yesterday's run. Al Ross picks up, though. Al, number 9 on the qualifying sheet now at 88 under the index. So Matcham stays 3. Al Ross moves up to number 9. Tom Mathias and Christina Bennett. Next pair of contestants. Next pair of Chevrolet Camaros. Christina, GTH automatic for the teacher out of Warren. Small block 327. Mathias out of Monroeville. His 86 Camaro, a 316 cubic inch combination. Another super stock B supercar there on the left-hand side. Todd's a little quick out of the gate. Christina. You know, if you took Todd's red light, Christina's green light, added them together, you'd have divided by 2, you'd have a thousandth from perfect reaction time. 12:33 for Christina. Not the run she was looking for. 9:41, 143 by Todd. Tom Sheehan and Jim Evanchuk. The 98 Escort GTA. Little ZX2 body style, 351 and a 4-speed. Tommy wheeling and dealing that Sebring that's been in the family for, well, a number of years now. A GTJ automatic car, the current 318 underneath the hood. Wheels up launch for Tommy. Meanwhile, Evanchuk just heads for the other end, 896, 149. Jimmy hustling down the racetrack. No improvements. Our number 2 driver stays number 2. David McGee and Gene McBean. Ford versus Chevrolet. Big block Nova GTC automatic car. Twice as nice entry for the runner out of Kentucky. And Gene McBean wheeling the Mustang. 428 Cobra Jet. The automatic car. Wheels up launch for the Deuce. Gene McBean, meanwhile, says, hey, that looks pretty, but I'll go faster. 979, 132 by Gene. 1026, 127 for David. Another one of the Eastland Crane Dodge machines. This time Bob wheeling and dealing the Super A automatic Hemi car. Classic 65 Dodge Coronet. Jeff Niswanger up on the left-hand side. Jeffrey right down the road in Zanesville. Manufacturer's breakfast cereal. Next time you're having your bowl of morning Post Toasties, stop thinking about Jeffrey. Well, I don't know if it's Post Toasties. I'm just saying. Next time you're having your breakfast cereal, think about it. Yeah, there you go. Final qualifying, our super stock cars, Spitzer Top Dragster. You all should be getting ready. We're going to be calling you shortly. Marshall goes through 943, a hun better than yesterday, 997. Wow, nice swinger. 997.6 yesterday, 997.7 today. Bob Fry could dial that car in. Of course, he'd probably put a 982 on it, but anyway. Sam Monteleone, I'm picking on Bob, he's a good friend. Sam Monteleone there on the left-hand side, the Cobra Jet Mustang. Factory Super Stock Cobra Jet there in the left lane. Factory Hot Rod 64 Ford Thunderbolt. 427. Just goes to show you what can happen in about 50 years. You go from the Factory Hot Rod Thunderbolt to the Factory Hot Rod Cobra Jet. Got news for you. They're both quick. Kurt Neighbor was getting a little up close and personal with that center stripe. He slows to 935. 914 by Sam Monteleone at 152. Silvius and Dallas Kelly. Another factory hot rod, this time a 427 4-speed. 64 Fairlane. Yaha. How cool is that? Motors on through, 898, 148 for Dallas, 936. Jerry Silvius, that little Chevy Cavalier out of Van Buren, stays consistent at 140 miles an hour. The Ford Pro, George Wright, Irvin Johns, Indiana Johns up on the left-hand side out of Memphis, which we all know is in Indiana and not in Tennessee, right? LS1 powered Chevy Cobalt. Automatic category. Irvin out of the gate and running. George Wright waiting until he was darn good and ready to go down the racetrack. Johns goes through 927.4. There's back-to-back runs within 2 thousandths of a second. 10:25.9. George Wright's gone 2 laps within 4 thousandths of a second. Good gravy, Miss Maybe. Ray Skillman, Jim Evident, Ron Matchin, J.J. Twitchell, Don Bells, Kurt Neighbor, Dennis Breeden, the birthday boy Dennis Breeden, Todd France, Jerry Silvius, and Al Ross, your top 10 as it currently sits. Starting line maintenance, putting a little rosin down, a little spray over the top. After so many cars leave the starting line, the wheelbase being pretty consistent on these stock and super stock cars. The rubber there on the starting line starts getting a little thin, so we stop, hold them up just a moment. Put a little rosin down, that gold dust that you see going down. Same stuff they use in Major League Baseball to rub up all the baseballs prior to a ball game. Give them a little bit of stickiness, if you will, so the pitchers can get a hold of them and throw those splitters and cutters, and sinkers and fastballs, curveballs, sliders, and all the rest of the concoctions that they have. So Irvin Motors through 927. George Wright Motors through 1025. Here Geezy pulls up. And Bobby Rashid, the Major Magic's Pizza Machine. Garrett out of Dolton, Illinois, the Super Stock L Automatic. 290-69 AMX. Got a runner here this weekend from Kenosha, Wisconsin, which is where that car was built back in 1969. +50 years of racing for Garrett over there on the left-hand side. Adkins does the engines for him. Bobby Rashid, the Major Magic's Pizza. Pontiac Firebird making its way down track. Grosse Pointe, Michigan-based runner. Probably too far to call to get a pizza delivered, huh? 973, a 135 for Bobby, 1114 for Garrett. 105 miles an hour. Mike Morgan and Dave Tincher pulling up next, excuse me. Tincher out of Elizabethtown, over Indiana way. 350 small block GTC automatic and a 94 edition of the Chevy Cavalier. Mike Morgan wheeling and dealing at Pontiac. Formula Firebird there on the left-hand side, 77 edition. Tincher motivating down track, 955. There's 300ths of a second improvement. 1362 by Mike. He's fallen off the pace. Need our sportsmen, Harley Davidson, our gas class Harleys, the Dragon Baggers, the Screaming Eagles. We need our Harleys, gas class Harleys, to the staging lanes, please. Joe Gallucci and Halsey Hatfield. Halsey up here on the right-hand side. Super K automatic. Classic. Super stock. Factory hot. 283 cubic inch SS Nova. 1966 edition. 427. 69 Camaro for Gallucci there on the Summit side. He goes 1020 at 130. 1057 at 122 by Halsey. Halsey has no improvement. Mark Nowicki. Now, yesterday, Mark and his lovely bride were in Las Vegas. They flew home yesterday, Gaylord, Michigan. Jumped in the rig, brought it down. This is his one shot at qualifying for the man who finished 7th in the points chase a year ago. Up alongside the GTC automatic Chevy Cavalier of Todd France, who finished 5th in the division last year. Dodge Avenger, 360 combination. And Mr. Nowicki working his way down the racetrack. 972 at 136 on 947 lap by Todd France. Mark goes in at 77 under into the number 27 spot as we call Spitzer, top dragster, to the lanes, please. Spitzer, race cars, top dragster. Needs you to the staging lanes, please. John Freck, Jeremy Duncan coming in next. Jeremy left side. Wheels up launch for the Mr. Pest Control. Oh my. He really carried him out there. For that Camaro set the front end back down, and that's just a little 350, 987. Not only does he do a big wheel stand, he also picks up a 1/10 of a second. 68 under the index now, 1080. 123 here on the right-hand side is Jimmy Ronzello and Paul Cambria. Pull in. Factory, super stock. Chevy Camaro, Paul Cambria, the Copo Camaro left side. Little 327 combination, and Jimmy Ronzello. The Lade Ford, Varsity Ford. Factory GT. Super stock Cobra Jet. Late model muscle car. Stock and super stock have really benefited from the factory involvement with muscle cars once again here in the 20 teens. 864, 158. Cambria picks up a 10th, 944. Jimmy Ronzello goes in number 51 on the qualifying sheet. Paul Cambria improves to number 52 on the qualifying sheet. Joe McDougall, Jeremy Mudd. Jeremy in the Pontiac Grand Am right side out of Shepherdsville, Kentucky. Sounds like a nice bucolic place, doesn't it? Joe McDougall out of Dundee, Ohio. He's an electrician. See if he can get his 86 Corvette wired into the racetrack. Super C modified, 347 combination underneath the hood of that 86 Corvette bodied entry. For stock, C-modded's a pair. Grand Am goes through 922, 144, 946, 143 for the Corvette. Pontiac just a little bit quicker down the racetrack. Charlie Moore's Super A automatic, 438 cubic inch, 64 Dodge, 330 bodied machine, and Joe Buchanan. Joe up in his B experimental. That's a little 278 cubic inch. Precision engine, Ford Mustang. Tell that's a 6. Sounds like a swarm of nasty mad bees, doesn't it? Buchanan motors through 983, 135, 937 by Charlie at 140 miles an hour. Joe sitting number 38. Right now on the qualifying sheet, Richard Locker up in his 426 Hemi Cuda there on the left-hand side. Matt Potts over here in the right lane. 69 Camaro. 350 Super Stock G automatic. Paint job on that car kind of harkens back to the late 60s, early 70s, doesn't it? Ooh, that Hemi car just not happy leaving the starting line. Richard buzzing the RPMs the heck and back out of that 426. 10:06, 128 by Matt Potts. Put that car on the sheet. Richard Locker shuts it off. 1640 down at the other end of the racetrack for those of you scoring back in the pits. Here's the birthday boy, Dennis Breeden. His wife Jackie sent up a note and said, hey, wish Dennis a birthday for me. Happy birthday for me. Well, we'll do just that. Factory Super Stock K. Drag pack, owner, operator, driver. Dennis gets to have all the fun wheeling the car. Jackie just has to put up with Dennis. But today it's Dennis's birthday, so we'll light a candle or two in his honor. Marty Reinhardt alongside the Geston Reinhardt. Reinhardt'sPerformance.com entry, 427 Super C automatic Camaro. Dennis Breeden there on the left side, number 8 on the qualifying sheet. 62 lap yesterday. See if he can improve on that as he works his way down the racetrack. Coming. Yep, he does. 957, 138. 981, 111 by Marty. Dennis all the way up to the number 3 spot now. The qualifying sheet. So happy birthday, Dennis Breeden. Angelo DiCarlo, Super H automatic, 327, 63 Corvette. Donnie Road on the right-hand side as we're on hold for a moment. Got a little bit of smoke way down there in the shutdown area, checking to make sure if it's a race car or somebody firing up the barbecue grill. Understand it's a race car. That's not a good thing. I'd rather it be the barbecue grill smoke. In our Sportsman Harley-Davidsons, we need you to the lanes, please. Sportsman Harley-Davidsons, we need you into the staging lanes, please. Spitzer Race Cars, Top Dragster, need you. Sportsman Harleys. Yeah, Pro Fuel and Top Fuel Harley. We'll see a little bit later on. Right now, it's the Sportsman Harley-Davidsons, the Dragon Baggers, and the Screaming Eagles, and the rest that we need to the lanes, please. And our Spitzer Race Cars, Top Dragster contestants, we need you to the lanes as well. Spitzer Race Cars, Top Dragster, needs you to the staging lanes, please.
Mosier Engineering, the leader in high-performance rear-end components, is proud to be an official sponsor of NHRA. Whether you're a weekend enthusiast or a serious racer, Mosier Engineering has the best quality products for your high-horsepower street and race applications. From our line of custom alloy axles and precision fabricated housings to our race-proven performance drag brakes, you can count on Mosier Engineering to help you get off the line fast and reliable, and then stop you quick and safely at the top end every time. Standard 2-day turnaround on even custom axles, housings, and center sections. Knowledgeable and friendly technicians. The best quality. Mosier Engineering, the only real choice. Visit us on the web at mosierengineering.com.
Oh, looks like they're rolling off the top end of the racetrack. That tells us that whatever smoke was down there was inconsequential for the rest of the field. Unfortunately, it does affect the racers whose car was smoking, but hey, that's why we have an opportunity to get them fixed. Round number 1 will be tomorrow for these cars. Angelo DiCarlo, Donnie Road getting ready to hit the racetrack now. Super E modified, 282 cubic inch, high, wide, and small block for Road over here on the right-hand side. Runner out of Gypsum, Ohio, working his way down to Carlo. Schaumburg, Illinois-based Corvette. Schaumburg goes through 987, DeCarlo goes through 987 at 130. 964 at 136 miles an hour. Top dragster, we need you to lanes, please. Top dragster, we need you to the staging lanes, please. Competition Eliminator, you are on standby. Competition Eliminator, get them ready. We're going to be calling you right behind the top dragsters. Is Eric Stewart. Scott Stillings make their way to the lines now. The Yin Automatic 84 Cutlass for the runner out of Michigan. Stewart on the left-hand side. Stillings in the right lane. Scotty, that 98 Pontiac Grand Am. Scotty goes cruising through 890 at 120 miles an hour. 11:33 for Eric. He improves to 81 under the index, all the way up to the number 23 qualifying position. Fred Bartoli Jr. and David Neal. Next pair in, the Pontiac Sunfire. 327, 4-speed combination for the diesel engine technician. Here on the right-hand side. Fred Bartoli, the Altronics folks, the weather station people out of Schaumburg. 350 GT automatic, the Camaro for Freddie Jr. Working his way down the racetrack. Giving chase to that GTB machine of Neal. 923, 143 by David. 989, 133 for Freddie. David's number 11, Bartoli's number 29. That was junior. Here comes senior. Bartoli, that is. The Altronics 98 Firebird there in the left lane. Another 350 combination. Dan Kyle's GT. Pontiac Firebird here on the right-hand side, a 350. Small block underneath the hood, throws it into the GTG automatic classification. 001 red for Dan doesn't mean anything this time around, but if he does it tomorrow, it'll be one of those, I didn't really mean to do that things. 1019, 111 by Kyle, no improvement. 10 flat. Bartoli picks up 800ths of a second. He's now number 40 on the qualifying sheet. A.H. Adkins, another 69 AMX. 269 AMX, a Tempo, a Sundance. We just got quite the collection of automobiles here this weekend. Super Stock B, 390, 4-speed. The AMX for Adkins. Motor alongside, wheel stand. 400 cubic inch, 69 Corvette. Billy's already off the throttle. Wheel stand came up pretty hard and came down the same way. 917, 145 by Adkins. 1426, 68 miles an hour by Fodor. Atkins now 72 under the index. That puts him number 34 on our qualifying sheet. David Turner and Eddie Matsko. The Chevy A-Go-Go, F-modified, 278 cubic inch, high wind, and then I do mean high wind, screaming small block Chevrolet. Listen to it. He rolled the tree. David Turner out of Ohio, the 70 Challenger alongside. And he'll have to sit down and study those numbers to see where it turns out. 1034, kind of a skewed number for Eddie. Rolling, leaving before the tree's activated. 950 at 139 by Turner. He'll be able to go back and run some numbers, compare that 330 to half track and half track to 1,000 foot. He'll be able to compute out what the car was going to run. Just gives him kind of a skewed number this time around. Keith Lynch, 3-time division champ, 2-time world champ, wheeling and dealing his factory. Super Stock Challenger here on the right-hand side. Craig Marshall there in the left lane, the Eastland Crane Dodge material, and yes, that is a Pontiac Grand Am. Every other car in the fleet is a Dodge. I asked him once, how come they've got a Grand Am that says Dodge material? And he says, we took it in on trade. And it's a pretty good race car. Craig goes 883 at 131, 964. Lynch improves. He's now number 9, one of our top 10 contestants. Marshall's 883 at 131 mile an hour lap. We'll put that Dodge material Pontiac. That seems strange to say. But they'll put the Dodge material Pontiac onto the qualifying sheet as well. Dave Dupp's up now, the GTI automatic. Chevy Camaro left side. Chuck Gallagher over on the right. Runner out of Defiance. 350 plus cubic inch, 90 Camaro B modified car. Chuck looking to put that Camaro down in about the mid 8-second zone. 942, 142 wasn't the run he was looking for. 1038 by Dave. 129 miles an hour. Dupp's gone back-to-back 1038 laps. Here's Don Bells. J.P. Schuster, another one of our Chevy S10. GT category truck, 350 small block underneath the hood, and Don Bells. Factory super stock Cobra Jet Mustang. 330 cubic inch combination. This will be an 8.5-second shooter. 848. 156 miles an hour. Don improves. 1049 by JP. Bell's now into the number 38 qualifying spot. Brad Ross sitting in the number 46 position. We'll have to wait until all the qualifying sheets are officially posted. But it's the number 46 spot. Number 46 qualifier in super stock that takes home the K&N Filters Racer Appreciation Gift Certificate this weekend. Brianna Kelly and Brina Splinger. Brina left side, Brianna right side. Chevy Cobalt for the lady out of Croninwetter, Wisconsin there on the left side. Camaro for the Ohio-based runner on the right, 992. 131. Brianna's car dead on consistent. 943.5. You can say the same for Brina. Brina's made 2 laps within 5 thousandths. Brianna's car's made 2 laps within 6 thousandths of a second. The other Dave Dupp's up now. The Chevy Cobalt GT Easy automatic car. Dan Jacobs, another stick shift GT. 2005 Chevy Cavalier body style. 305 V8 underneath the hood. Spitzer Race Cars, top dragster class. Need you to lanes, please. Top dragster to the staging lanes. 940, 139. Dan picks up a half a second. 987 by Dave. He goes into the number 30 spot. Dan Jacobs goes all the way to number 1. Taking the number 1 spot away from Ray Skillman by 7 thousandths of a second. Nick Folk, Jeff Myers. Nick, Jeff, Nick. Myers Chevy 2 out of Indiana. Folks, Cobalt out of Illinois. On paper, the quicker of the two. Folk in the left lane. He ran a 9 yesterday. Nice wheels up launch for Jeff Myers, who went 10:13 yesterday. Again, once we get to handicap, once we get to eliminations, the slower car gets to go first. Folk goes 940, picks up 0.2. Jeff Myers goes 984. He picks up 0.2 as well. Myers now 70 under. Nick now 69 under the index. And Ricky Decker and Jim Clark as we continue to shuffle around the super stock final qualifying order. A modified Pontiac Grand Am. Another 8-second super stock car for the gentleman. Been in the sport 40 plus years. 439 cubic inch Pontiac. And for Ricky Decker, past division champ, couple of times over. Former Jegs All-Star rep, couple of times over. former world champ, multiple time top 10 campaigner. Besides, I say he's a pretty good racer. Decker out of Charleston, Indiana. Super I automatic. Chevy Camaro on the left-hand side. 979. Decker improves by a tenth plus at 134. He's now up to the number 11 spot. Jim Clark goes 858, 41 under the index. He's down towards the bottom of the sheet, but he's on the sheet, and that's a good place to be. Sean Dornan, Super Stock B automatic, another Hemi classic Mopar car, the 65 Belvedere for the runner out of Republic, Ohio. Jeff Dona alongside. Jeffrey wheeling and dealing at Super H automatic, 98 Pontiac Formula Firebird. Ooh, Jeffrey. Front end up, front end down. Hard wheel stand. Rocking back on the wheelie bars. Unloaded the rear end a little bit. 996, 119 by Jeffrey. Sean Dornan launched that car. The air's so good. The track's so good. It launched the car up on the wheelie bar. Got the rear end off of the ground as well. Then it started settling back down to earth, and Sean Dornan's like, hold on a minute here, sports fans. Got to check a few things out. And the word comes that when Sean Dornan's machine came up, it looked pretty. When it came down, it looked ugly. Understand that we flattened the oil pan on the car a little bit when the front end came back down. When you get the front end up, as long as the rear tires are still driving the car forward, you can kind of drive through the wheel stand. But when the rear tires come completely off the ground, as they did for Sean Dornan that time, well, let's just say your forward momentum ceases to exist. The car then becomes a bit of a mess as it comes back down, somewhat hard. Yeah, that'd be a good word for it. Spitzer Race Cars, top dragster, we need you to the lanes, please. Our Sportsman Harley Davidson should already be there. Our Screaming Eagle, our Dragon Baggers, our Pro Harleys, we need you to the lanes. Or gas Harleys, that is, we need you to the lanes. We're all there. We got them. Top dragster needs you to the lanes now, please. Competition Eliminator. Get them ready. You're on standby. Comp Eliminator. Get them ready. You are on standby.
Street, strip, truck, or off-road, Mickey Thompson makes tires and wheels for all your high-performance needs. And the best thing about owning a set is that when you do, you become a part of the Mickey Thompson legend, and that's an honor. Check out all of our tires and wheels at www.mickeythompsontires.com. With our new Buy Now feature, you can shop online, compare tire and wheel prices from top performance dealers, and quickly get them to your doorstep with just a few simple clicks. Mickey Thompson, be a part of the legend. Get the right parts at the right price with free same-day shipping from Jegs High Performance. Just dial 1-800-345-4545 or click on jegs.com. 100% satisfaction guaranteed with free same-day shipping. The place for performance, Jegs. Is your goal an NHRA championship? Then Ultronics has what you need. Ultronics DataQuest system is the latest in state-of-the-art data recording. The DataQuest full-color touchscreen dash is the only system available that puts your data at the touch of a fingertip. DataQuest's new integrated switch panel allows complete control of all your car's accessories directly through the touchscreen. And Ultronics DataQuest is an NHRA contingency product, which means you get paid to win. With tech support experts available 7 days a week, Ultronic is always there when you need them. For products that will get you to that final round, remember Ultronics and DataQuest Data Acquisition Systems. Order one now at www.ultronicsinc.com.
Looks like we got Sean Dornan's car off of the racetrack after that all four tires off the ground wheel stand. A little bit of cleanup going on here on the Budweiser side of the racetrack. Nick Morris and Steve Bellinger sit and wait patiently for their shot at the quarter mile here at Summit Racing Equipment Motorsports Park, the 10th annual Cavalcade of Stars presented by Budweiser. Top Dragster, we need you to lanes, please. If you're not there yet, you're late. You're tardy. You're missing in action. You're AWOL. Let's see, what else can I come up with? Yep, you're not there. We need you. We want you. Gots to have you. Top Dragster, need you to lanes. Competition Eliminator, get them ready. You'll be coming. Following Comp Eliminator will be our Brodix, Steve Schmidt Top Sportsman category. Final qualifying for our Harley-Davidson Sportsman motorcycles. Then into Alcohol Funny Car and Alcohol Dragster. Qualifying session number 1 for the day. They'll be coming up here in just a bit. Ballinger and Nick Morris bring their cars to life. Would like to remind everybody, our Racers for Christ Children's Activities Center over going on right now, just behind the West Side Grandstands over in the center island. Be going on from 2 to 4. Pedal cars and lots of activities going on over there. Our Races for Christ Activity Center for the youngins. From 2 to 4. Steve Bellinger, 327, 4-speed. 5 Chevy 2. Wheels up launch for Steven, keeping the rear end on the ground. Nick Morris, number 2 in the world last year. A Louisville, Kentucky-based Mustang, 974 by Morris at 136, 975 by Bellinger. Here comes Tyler Bohannon and Brad Zaskowski. Brad in his stick shift. 327, 87 Camaro. Mickey Thompson, ARP, K&N, Autometer, the rest of the gang. Tyler Bohannon, best appearing car at Indy 3 weeks ago, the opening race. Gordon, 57 Corvette. Under the sunlight, that car just is bedazzling. Zaskowski heading down track, goes through 999 at 107. 10:03 by Bohannon. Tyler improves. He's now 56 under the index. Dan Jacobs, little Cavalier, that 109 under lap he ran just a bit ago, still holding him in that number 1 spot. Chad Taylor. Saw Chad have Taylor up in stock eliminator. See if the young gun, that final round contestant yesterday in our Indy final, And stage up the Camaro here properly. We know he can. It was just a glitch in the stocker, trust me. Zach running alongside the GTJ automatic. Heating and air conditioning contractor out of Michigan. Working his way down track. Chad much better on the line in the super stock car. Of course, he had some good seat time in it yesterday. 10:17, 98 miles an hour off the throttle. 10:59. Zach picking up 300ths of a second out of that machine. Terry Allison and Aaron Allison. Dad in the left lane. Youngster on the right-hand side. Ohio-based runners a pair. The GTG automatic Pontiac with Dad. The Super B modified Cavalier for Aaron. Climbed into a race car when he was 16, been running since. 9:01, 150 by Aaron. 10:08, 130 for Terry. Dad's car within 0.06 of a second of what he ran yesterday. Jeff Taylor, the GTD automatic Chevy Cobalt now. Coming up on the right-hand side. Budweiser lane here at Summit Racing Equipment Motorsports Park. Dad, the engine builder for many of the cars here in competition this weekend. Chevy Cobalt. Mouse-motored machine. Jeff working his way down track. Working it through the automatic gears. Goes 969 at 135, and Jeffrey picks up a couple of hun. Sportsman Harley classes. We got like 5 of the bikes here this weekend. I think everybody came over from Pennsylvania. Don Lynn out of Bell Vernon. His 2000 Road King in the Dragon Bagger class. Down a couple of 14-second laps yesterday. Let's see if the air's helping out any today. It looked just a little sluggish off the line. Harley Davidson Sportsman Motorcycles participate at several of the Lucas Oil Drag Racing Series events across the country. 14:11, 91 miles an hour that time by Don Lynn. He's the sole contestant in our Dragon Bagger classification. Our Hot Street Harley. John Toff, another Pennsylvania-based runner. Body shop owner. Harley Davidson racer. 970 the lap out of his hot rod yesterday at 135 miles an hour. Looks like John may be having issues. So for John, no opportunity to get down track. They'll have one more qualifier coming up a little bit later on today. Greg Ball, the Sportsman Harley Davidson machine, another Pennsylvania-based runner. This one with an SNS 145 combination. 1050 lap out of the bike yesterday at 123. That's what you call riding a wheelie. Got the front end up, just kind of leaned into it a little bit, got it to settle back down. 942. Picks up a second plus from his run yesterday and over 15 miles an hour faster. Rowe out of Allentown, Pennsylvania. This is the Screaming Eagle. This is the factory drag bike you could go walk into your local Harley dealer and buy a few years back. They've become highly sought after motorcycles right now. Can't find them anymore. Oh, you can find them for sale, but trust me, you don't pay for it. Screaming Eagle machine. Walk into your local Harley dealer and buy one straight off the showroom floor. Wheelie bars, drag slick, set up to go racing. 1069, 123 miles an hour for Billy Rowe, the Allentown, Pennsylvania-based runner. Muscles his way on down track with that Screaming Eagle Harley. A little track prep going on now, getting ready to run our Spitzer race cars, top dragster class. Getting ready to come at us. Little track prep going on as we get ready to send our 6-second 220, 230, 240 mile an hour dragsters down the racetrack in our Spitzer race cars, top dragster category. It's going to be their first shot at qualifying for the weekend. We had one scheduled for yesterday evening, and Mother Nature kind of put the Quahilis on that. She said, no. So our top dragsters getting ready to come out for their first of two sessions today. Qualifying going to come at us. We will set a 32-car field. And there was quite the discussion earlier in the week with the air conditions being what they are as to what kind of bump we would have. The record bump, a 647.3, if I remember correctly. We set that at Bowling Green late last fall. And the consensus is 647.4. Excuse me. I missed it by a foul. The consensus is we're going to set another record quick field here this weekend. 647.4. Hey, I'm just being optimistic. Talk about the quickest ever field in our Spitzer race cars, top dragster category, and this year it's being presented by the good folks at RacingRVs.com. Joe Fisher and the gang, Patty, is everybody helping out and stepping up to sponsor the Top Dragster and Top Sportsman National Championship Chase. But here on the division level, we're sponsored by Spitzer Race Cars in the Top Dragster category. And out of the 14, or should say 15, quickest ever fields in Top Dragster competition, 14 of them have been run here in the Division 3, North Central Division, Lucas Oil Drag Racing Series, and 6 of them set last year. I mean, just continually updating and constantly going quicker are the Top Dragster machines. As even at Beach Bend Raceway Park last fall, under weather conditions that were certainly not as pristine as they are here today. I mean, yes, we have a headwind, but it's not a galing headwind. We certainly have cool air, probably a little bit more humidity in the air than we'd like to have, but really don't think too much more humidity than what we had in last fall down in Bowling Green, Kentucky. We set the record bump last fall, 647.4. We had set it just a few weeks before that in St. Louis at Gateway Motorsports Park at a 649.7. So just going to be interesting to see where we end up with our 32-car bump spot, especially with the transitions made over the winter. So many of the cars stepping up to bigger power plants, stronger power plants, getting the engines freshened up and ready to go. A lot of drivers making the changeover on their induction system, stepping into the ProCharger style or centrifugal blower on top of the car or feeding the car's engine. So all I can tell you is grab a hold of your seat. Let's see what happens. Because this, boys and girls, as they say, is fixing to get interesting. Spitzer Race Cars, Top Dragster category, round 1 of qualifying, getting ready to come out and come at us. I'm coming to life there on the south side of the tower here in the grandstands as our first pair starting to make their swing around the bend. You've got giant cubic inch motors doing it on all cubic inches. You have large engines with nitrous oxide. You have somewhat smaller power plants with a supercharger sitting up on top. Or as I said earlier, you've got a lot of cars that have made the transition over to a ProCharger, centrifugally spun supercharger, now off the front or side of the engine. Their first pair doing their burnouts, Tom Elliott and B.J. Sexton. Elliott, left-hand side, Kentucky-based runner. 73 years young. Hemi engine, supercharged. The Artisan. Mike Spitzer built race car, brand new 2016 chassis for Elliott there on the left-hand side, and B.J. Sexton, Ohio-based runner. Car built over in the Race Tech chassis shop. 490 cubic inch big block Chevrolet, likewise with a supercharger up on top. Our quickest cars will qualify for the Wiseco Fast Four eliminations coming up a little bit later on today. 4 quickest from this session. They will run in the second following the second session. And the two winners out of those two pairs will be back for the final. Hang on there, Tommy. 6:59, 2:10 by B.J. Sexton. Tommy Elliott, front end came up, rattled the tires, twisted just a little bit, came down, pointed towards the center stripe, got real up close and personal with that 330-foot timing cone out there. Got the front end back down, steered it back into the groove, got back on the throttle one more time. The rear end wagged out from underneath him to the left, and Tom's like, okay, I think I've had enough. Whew, I had. Just watching him go through all that. I'm telling you. 6:59, 2:10. BJ says, you want some? Come and get it. The top dragster category coming into existence a few years back. NHRA accepting and running for a national championship last year. The first ever top dragster national champion is the gentleman there on the left-hand side. Division 3's own Marco Abruzzi. And also a gentleman based right here in the great state of Ohio, out of Warren. Carries the big number 1 on the side of the Abruzzi transmission car. Got the 540 cubic inch big motored Chevrolet for Marco and Kim and Nick and Emily. Jeff Coons helping out on the car. Richard Fritch over here on the right-hand side. Another Spitzer chassis machine. Another blown big block Chevrolet. Here on the right-hand side. Engine coming out of Dart Racing Engines. Richard Nann campaigning the machine coming up from Columbus. Again, we will qualify the quick 32. Marco goes through 6:33, 217 miles an hour. Richard Fritch, a 6:52 lap at 210. So Marco goes to number 1. Richard slides into the number 2 spot, but hey, we got a few more cars to go. Dulis out of Lisbon. Innovative chassis works machine. In a big block Chevrolet. Now, not everybody in the top dragster category is going to have a long, skinny car. Some people are going to run a 32 Bantam Roadster style machine with a blown Hemi. Yeah, that'd be Mike Shield over there on the left-hand side. Hometown runner. Runs a restoration shop. Keith Black Hemi. In Vaney. Built and maintained power plant. Been around the sport of drag racing for any length of time. You'll recognize that name. And his son Todd, both very active for oh so many years. Ed Tula's taking off, getting out up close and personal with the center stripe. He'll shut off to 763. At 119, Michael Shield brings the RPMs up, launches off the line, shakes the tires a couple of times. The Roadster gets a little twitchy, which short wheelbase cars have been known to do before. And he'll shut off to a 1303 at 75 miles an hour. I think we may have a very good racetrack and very good air, making a whole lot of power. Some of these guys or gals going to be trying to figure out how to make it all work and get that power put down. Here comes our diesel. Yeah, you can run a diesel. We talked about all the big motors with nitrous oxide and blowers and centrifugal. How about a twin turbocharged Cummins diesel for Jared Jones out of Scheid Diesel Services over Terre Haute Way? They will spin that all aluminum Cummins diesel. RPMs up Couple of big old waste gates on it, big air intake on it to suck some air in as they're going down the racetrack. Jim Prevost. Carpenter out of Illinois over here on the right-hand side. Big motor, bottle fed, 632 cubic inch, nitrous car. Here on the Budweiser side. Check out the diesel. He'll light the pre-stage beam. Wait for Prevost over here on the right side to do likewise. Now I'll start spooling up the motor. Bringing the RPMs up. Here come the RPMs, rolls it into the beams. Tree comes down, away you go. Car's been in the 6 second zone. Car's been over 200 miles an hour. He's out of it by 1,000 feet this time. Goes 774 to 141. How about that Jim Prevost guy? 643, 210 miles an hour. That's good for the number 2 spot right now. So Prevost goes in with a strong run. Jared Jones will probably lay back and put a little bit of weight on the nose of that car for the run coming up later on today. Afton Swanson, young lady out of Denver, Iowa. Recent college graduate, moving into the working world. New Spitzer chassis race car. Hubby Joe out there taking a look at everything. Blown big block Chevrolet. They're in the hydrographics business, at least Joe is. It's where you lay the paint on the water and dip your component into the paint on the water. Hydrographics, great way to get things done. Had my Yeti cup dipped with carbon fiber. Made it look a whole lot cooler than the way Yeti sold it to me. Kathy Fisher alongside, the young lady from the TV shows that we see on TV. The Dragoness, as she's saying now. Morley exhaust, K&N filter. Pro charged machine. She hustles down track 627, 213 miles an hour. Afton goes 654 at 219. Kathy's crew goes down to get her. They're going to pass out some Dragoness prizes to the lucky fans along the pits. The first 20 fans back to the pits over on the Bud side. They're right down there by the scoreboard. They can tell them what they ran. Get an extra Dragoness prize. So Kathy goes 627, 213 at low ET. Good for the number 1 spot right now. Afton goes in 654 at 219. Chase Beverly up left side. Wise, Virginia-based runner. American chassis built race car, 540 cubic inch, big motor Chevrolet. Johnny Deacons over here on the right side. Johnny, racecraft chassis machine. Works for Quick Fuel Technology. One of the folks that helps supply fuel systems to many of the race cars here out of Louisville. He is a technical designer for Quick Fuel. Will cough and stutter and stumble out of the gate for Johnny. 639 for Chase, though. Down at the other end of the racetrack, 215 miles an hour. So Beverly slides into the number 3 spot. Kathy Fisher, 627. Still leading the pack at 213 miles an hour. Marco's 217, just a little bit shy of Afton Swanson's top speed of 219. So we're really starting to mix things up now a little bit. Pro charged car sitting number 1. Supercharged car sitting number 2. Here comes Ed Dudley and Marty Cheeseman. Ed going rounds yesterday. We finished up our event from St. Louis. Going to the final round with that Fisher's base. Spitzer chassis car there on the left side, and Marty Cheeseman, name that you might recognize. Cheeseman brothers out of New Albany. Chuck for years campaigning at Alcohol Funny Car. They like the new Spitzer. top dragster category. Dropped the motor from the funny car into a new Spitzer chassis and said, hey, let's go top dragster racing. Here they are. Dudley left side. Runner up at our Indy event. Marty the right lane. Marty getting out close to that center stripe. He shuts it off. 646, 206 by Dudley. Going down the left-hand side, the summit lane. Marty's 637 and only 163 miles an hour. If you look at those numbers, they just do not coexist well. 637.7. It's the third quickest lap down the racetrack. And 163, 50 miles an hour behind Kathy Fisher, your number one qualifier. Cheeseman getting up close and personal. That center stripe down there, about the 1,000-foot mark. Yep, he backed off the throttle, drove it on through. Still an excellent elapsed time. Dudley goes to the number 6 spot with that 646. There's Tony Billett. Tim and Antonora. Antonora out of New York. Sliding in the Profab chassis machine. On the right-hand side, Tony, a landscaping contractor. Got the big bottle-fed engine over on the left-hand side for the runner out of Boardman here in the Buckeye State. We didn't clear the top end of the racetrack. Looks like the car's rolling off. Cyrus says, okay, boys, we're ready. Blown big block Chevrolet, bottle-fed, bigger Chevrolet there on the left-hand side. First round, Spitzer race cars, top dragster qualifying. Cop Eliminator, you should be ready to go. I think I'm going to be calling your name here shortly. Antonora, 644 at only 192. 726, 175 for Tony. Antonora goes into the number 6 spot. Tony's sitting now number 12. And I'm telling you, we're going to set this field at a fairly rapid rate. Once all is said and done, Kathy Fisher, 6:27.0. 213 mile an hour lap, still your number one qualifying effort for now. You go 5:99 at 9, you go to the bottom of the sheet. Quickest you could run in the category and competition, a 6 flat. Here comes Mike Trowell. Mike out of Alexandria, Kentucky. Gorgeous car. They're on the left-hand side. 655 cubic inch Chrysler left side, 655 cubic inch Chrysler right lane. And you say, Mr. Announcer Man, that's kind of unusual to have them 2 cars like that, same power plant. Well, they're team cars. Karma Hopper over here on the right-hand side. Karma out of Kentucky, a supervisor for them folks that have all them big brown trucks. Mike there on the left. Karma off and running with the light turned green. Mike sits and waits. Karma's car coughs, stutters, stumbles. Mike goes running on by. He runs 10:15 at 183, and we go up for 2 on that pair. It looks like Karma's car she's still under power. She's motivating off the top end of the racetrack, so we'll hold up just a moment while that slow car clears the top end. 18 cars down track so far. Kathy Fisher, co-host on Performance TV, on Velocity, Mav TV, and Revin. Yeah, she's still sitting number 1. Not only talks hot rods on TV, she drives one. Cop Eliminator needs you to the lanes now, please. Competition Eliminator. Needing you to the staging lanes, please. Come on down. Here's Dave Jamieson and Mark Harmon. No, not that Mark Harmon. This Mark Harmon out of Indiana, Fast Lube and McLaughlin Oil. Got the little motor. Little 401 cubic inch Chevrolet. And yes, Matilda, that is a small block. Got the Pro Charger on top of it. Dave Jamieson, Ohio-based runner. On the left side. Fast loop car. Goes into a wheel stand. He gets out of it. Does another one. 643, 217 by Harmon. How about Dave Jamieson? There's your new number one qualifier, 618. There's your new top speed of the meet so far. 226 miles an hour by Jamieson. David goes to 1. Harmon goes to number 6. Continue to fill out. 32 car field. Our group up on the left-hand side. Painter out of Elgin, Illinois. It's a Nealon Parks chassis, front engine style machine. The blown big motor Chevrolet sitting out in front of Mark. Joe Hessling, number 8 in the first ever national championship chase last year. Runner out of Toledo. Right down the road that way, he says, pointing that way. 540 cubic inch, big motor, American chassis car. Good hot rod over here on the Budweiser lane. Interesting to see a front-motored machine here this weekend in our top dragster competition. Front end on Krupa's car just dancing. 621, 220 miles an hour out of the front engine car. How about that, boys and girls? Up to the number 2 spot. Joe Hessling goes 632, 224. So Krupa, old school style. Engine out in front, slingshot style dragster. Second quickest lap of the session and did it nicely. 621, 220 miles an hour. So Joe Marks in. Joe's in. I don't think either of those two have to worry about even possibly getting bumped out of the show. Shauna Snyder, Dan Norris getting ready to come up next. Shauna, systems exec over at Vintage Trailer Sales. Big motor, 521 cubic inch. Supercharged Chevrolet there on the left-hand lane. And Norris, Michigan-based runner, a Mike Boz chassis craft car. Hemi-fied power plant over here on the right. The Budweiser lane. See a lot of thinking anymore in our top dragster category. Blowers, superchargers, turbochargers, nitrous oxide, fuel injection. I'm telling you, guys really putting their thinking caps on these days and coming up with some different ideas and concepts to get these cars to run that low 6-second, 220 plus mile an hour zone. Sean on the left side. Dan over here on the right. Starting to creep into the beams now. The Vintage Trailer Sales machine there on the left. Big tip of the cap to them. And KB Trailer Sales for their racer dinner last Thursday evening. Here in the pits. Sure do appreciate their support. Man, spinning the tires off the hit. 602, 235 miles an hour. Say hello and how do you do to your new number one qualifier. Shanna steps up, smacks it right out of the ballpark. 602, 235. That's low ET and top speed combined in one run. So it's Shanna Snyder, Dave Jamieson, Mark Krupa with the front engine car. Kathy Fisher sitting 4, the Dragoness. Joe Hessling 5. Marco Abruzzi, the reigning champ, 6. Marty Cheeseman 7. Chase Beverly, your quick 8 so far. But we're not done because here comes Ashley Peebler, or Al Peebler, and Ashley Tidrick. I was getting my lanes names confused there. Is Peebler over on the left-hand side and Ashley here in the right-hand lane. And the word comes that Mother Nature is wiggling that fickle finger of fate at us again. So while we pause momentarily for the cause of Mother Nature, we'll put Al and Ashley and the rest of our Spitzer Top Dragster field on hold here for just a moment. Our Cop Eliminator cars coming out of the lanes, they're making their way out of the pits, they're making their way towards the staging lanes. So we continue to work our way through day number 2. We're at the 10th annual Cavalcade of Stars presented by Budweiser at Summit Racing Equipment Motorsports Park. Making some progress through our schedule. Our Top Dragster, Comp Eliminator, and Top Sportsman machines finally getting their first shot at qualifying today, as did Stock and Super Stock just a little bit earlier. We'll give our Harley-Davidson Sportsman motorcycle competitors one more shot at qualifying. Then we'll go into Alcohol Funny Car and Alcohol Dragster qualifying sessions. Our Top Fuel Harleys, our Pro Fuel Harleys, and our Pro Stock Snowmobiles all set to come in order right behind our Spitzer Race Cars Top Dragsters. So you can tell that it's just a light mist out there. Nobody's really running and ducking for cover. Just one of those things we have to let Mother Nature get that fickle finger of fate wiggle out of her system, and we'll get right back to it. Don't go away, or not.
Race car to hot rod. If you have a leaf spring vehicle, you can count on the Calvert Racing Team to set you up with the best in leaf spring performance. From their CalTrack system to split mono leaf springs to their full line of shocks, Calvert Racing has been revolutionizing leaf spring systems to outperform the competition. It's no secret, with the CalTrack system equipped on 7 out of 10 of the current NHRA World Champions and the first leaf spring car in the 6-second quarter mile, Calvert Racing has what you need to get you to the win light. Visit their website at calvertracing.com for more information for their leaf spring application, bolt-on 2-link system, and CalTrack's traction bar system. For over 45 years, racers have come to depend on Moroso Performance products to help get their car to the winner's circle. With a full line of oil system and must-have racing products, it's important that the factory support goes farther than just the purchase. For 2015, Moroso Performance is expanding trackside support to most divisional races, while continuing to pay contingency on all Moroso oil pans. The Moroso Trackside Support Trailer is designed for the sportsman racer's needs and peace of mind while attending these events. Stop by the Moroso Performance Trailer and have your tire pressure gauge checked for accuracy on the Moroso fully certified calibration tool. Maybe it's time to replace that old coil wire with a new one for the season. Remember, that coil wire will see 8 times the workload of the rest of the spark plug wires. Stop by the trailer and see just what is available for purchase. Moroso Performance product questions and inquiries can be answered in person by a factory representative. Moroso Performance, since 1968. It's our passion that drives us.
Don't forget the Bigfoot Ride-Along Contest. The winner is going to be drawn today. Now, here's the rules. Bigfoot going to be here for the Super Summit, June 3rd and 4th at Summit Racing Equipment Motorsports Park. June 3rd and June 4th. We will be drawing today, later on this evening, during the second alcohol session, for the winner of the ride-along. You'll be 12 feet in the air, cruising along in Bigfoot. There's 2 rules. 1, you have to be available to be here June 3rd. I hate to give away a prize to somebody that can't use it. And 2, you need to be 18 years of age by June 3rd. Now, if you meet both of those requirements and you'd like to go for a ride in Bigfoot, one of the original and most legendary monster trucks ever built, you need to swing by the Budweiser Guest Services booth over here on the east side of the racetrack and get signed up. And again, we're going to be drawing the winner this evening. So we'll know today who's going to be back on June 3rd for Super Summit Weekend here at Summit Motorsports Park to ride along in Bigfoot. 12 feet off the ground and one of the most legendary monster trucks ever built. Again, stop by the Budweiser Guest Services display here on the east side of the racetrack and get signed up. And hey, your name might be drawn a little bit later on today to go for that ride on June 3rd.
When it's time to purchase a data acquisition system, turn to the industry leader Computech Systems. Computech has been providing racers with the best in motorsports technology since 1986. Just ask any of our past NHRA contingency winners, including Alan Johnson, Warren Johnson, David Rampey, and Al Kenny. Computech's DataMax data logger with a digital dash will fit anyone's needs. Give Computech a call today to discuss their data acquisition system and reserve your free copy of the latest demo software. The DataMax from Computech can help put you on the fast track to the winner's circle. Call 1-800-870-8383 to order risk-free with a 30-day money-back guarantee. Also, visit us on the web at www.computech.com.
Have had their fair share of challenges this weekend. He goes 835 here at 139 miles an hour. He's probably thinking to himself down at the other end of the racetrack, where are them golf clubs? Andrew Johnson over here on the right-hand side. 521 cubic inch Chevrolet Pro Charged car. Interesting combination. A little fuel injection going on it as well. Pittsburgh Chassis Machines, a pair. Brian Keller, Ohio-based runner there on the left-hand side. He's got the Hemi power plant. Keller left lane. Part of that KB Trailers operation, part of our sponsored dinner the other evening, our Racer Appreciation Dinner. So Andrew's in, Brian's in. They'll put their name on the qualifying sheet. Before all is said and done, 6:01, 2:42. Brian Keller takes the number one spot. Andrew Johnson, 6:21. He slides to the number 5 spot at 226 miles an hour. So Brian and Andrew shuffle the top 5 around a little bit. Bumping Kathy Fisher back to 7. Mark Krupa's front engine machine back to 6. Bumping Shauna Snyder and the Vintage Trailers machine back to number 2. We continue on. Mike Coughlin, the Jags gang. Over here on the left-hand side, Summit side of the racetrack. The new Pro Charged 526 cubic inch Chevrolet for Uncle Mike. And Mike Smith out of Owasso, Michigan. Bowen Chassis Machine. 465 cubic inch Oldsmobile power plant. Similar to the days of back when they were running the Oldsmobile power plant in the alcohol dragster ranks. Gentleman by the name of Alan Johnson fabricating the components. Shut Michael Smith off on the line. Meanwhile, Mike Coughlin goes through 6:16, 226 miles an hour, and Smith, having some fluid erupt underneath the car, would have driven right into it. Probably spun him over into either the Christmas tree or the right-hand wall. So for Mike, situation there getting pushed back. For Mike Coughlin, the situation of going to the number 4 qualifying position. Getting Mike Smith's car pushed back. Mike Coughlin goes to number 4. Looks like they were able to get the spot of moisture underneath Mike Smith's car, cleaned up. Checking mid-range there on the racing surface itself. Make sure we don't have anything out on the racetrack. Back to track. Getting checked out, or quad rolling off the top end. That because there was substance on the racetrack. Michael Smith's machine shut off, will be allowed to refire and make his qualifying run. So, Mike, we'll give the blown Oldsmobile hustles its way through 618, 227. Nice pass, wheels in the air, setting him back down, and he goes into the number 6 qualifying position. Our next pair doing their burnout. Tom Martino out of Youngstown, Ohio, up on the left-hand side, and Zach Sackman, 20-year-old youngster out of Illinois, over here in the right lane. What were you doing when you were 20? I certainly wasn't driving a blown big block Chevrolet Spitzer chassis dragster. That's for danger. Rodix, Steve Schmidt, Top Sportsman Cars. Need you to the lanes now, please. Top Sportsman. Your turn to come on down. Need you to the staging lanes, please. Rodix, Steve Schmidt, Top Sportsman Cars. Need you to the staging lanes, please. Come on, come on. Come on. Tom Martino out of Ohio, the design engineering Mickey Thompson Tires machine. Giving it a ride down the racetrack. 642, 208 for Tom. 622, 229 for Zach. Zachman hustling down the racetrack to the number 9 spot. Martino slides into the number 17 position. Tom Elliott's 10:45. Now the bump coming up on the scoreboard. Martino works his way in. Chris Schneider and Joe Fisher getting ready to do their thing. Chris Schneider out of Ohio. They're on the left-hand side. Joe Fisher, RacingRVs.com, the boss man. His hot rod here in the right-hand lane. Chromeworks chassis car. Getting ready to make its lap down the racetrack. Joe and Patty. Tom all stepping up. RacingRVs.com. Sponsorship of the National Points Chase. Ooh, Chris Snyder's machine. It got real ugly fast. 642, 221 by Joe. Schneider's car lighting up the right-hand side. You can see fire and flame and smoke belching out of the headers. That was a very unhappy 600 cubic inch Chevrolet. I will guarantee you that the innards of that motor don't look like they did when he left the pit area. So Schneider, 19 seconds coasting across. Joe goes into the number 17 qualifying position with that 642 number. Send the boys, girls out from the over-the-wall gang to check the racetrack, make sure it was all smoke and fire out of the headers, nothing getting on our racing surface. Again, Brian Keller leading the pack with his 601. 242 mile an hour lap. Shanna Snyder, number 2. Ashley Tidrick, 3. Mike Coughlin sitting number 4. Track checks out okay. Car clears the top end. 2 more cars getting ready to come at us as we go into Comp Eliminator. Qualifying session number 1, Ray Skillman, David Billingsley. Comp Eliminator. Gotta love the category. If you're a car person, if you're a car guy or gal, you have to love Comp Eliminator. Harkens back to the early days of NHRA when some guy might have an engine, some guy might have a race car or have a chassis. They put all their parts and pieces together and go racing. I mean, you can have big V8s and little V8s, 4 cylinders and 6 cylinders and superchargers and turbochargers, and carburetors and fuel injection, and dragsters and roadsters and altereds, door cars. What did I leave out? Front engine dragsters and rear engine dragsters. I mean, a little bit of everything. Comp Eliminator, B Econo Altered, Ray Skillman's machine. The Ray Skillman Automotive Group over Indiana way. That's a 2014 Ford Mustang bodied entry with a 322 cubic inch Chevrolet underneath the hood. Ray lost fire. He was the runner-up yesterday as we completed our Indy drag race. Dave Billingsley, meanwhile, Larry Hodge race tires, 4-cylinder Chevy Camaro over here on the right-hand side. Billingsley. Waiting patiently for Ray Skillman to pull forward. Billingsley sitting there going, come on. They've got a procedure that they go through, like for the engine and components to be the right temperature. As they pull into the stage beam, Dave's engine probably a little bit warmer than he'd like to have. You can hear that 190 cubic inch small motor just screaming going down the racetrack. 879. 153 by Billingsley. 777. 173 by Skillman. Billingsley qualifies 57 hundredths of a second under his index. Skillman runs 49 under his index. With the disparity and the variety of cars in Comp Eliminator, it's a matter like in stock and super stock, how low can you go against your class index? And for Billingsley that time, a nice half-second plus underrun. BJ Sexton up. The B dragster automatic there on the left-hand side. Greg Tabler. Over here on the right-hand side, another B dragster automatic. We had 7 B dragster automatics in Indy 3 weeks ago. There are 9 known B dragster automatics in the country. Lifting that front end high. Sets it back down, goes 722 at 183. 740 at 193 for Sexton. 746 the index for both. Tabler, obviously the quicker of the two. Goes into the number 3 spot with 4 cars down track, and BJ slides in right behind. Rick Brown and Jim Greenheck get ready to pull in next as we wait to make sure everybody makes the bend safely off the top end of the racetrack. The over-the-wall gang goes, well, over the wall to check out the racing surface, make sure it's all lean, mean, clean, and green. Track checks out okay, and the word goes out to fire the next pair. Jim Greenheck, the C-Tech aluminum cabinets. Chevy Camaro bodied entry. They're in the Budweiser lane. Race shop fabricated race car. Carbon fiber body, chrome moly chassis. Small block Chevrolet underneath the hood. Jim's already been a winner in the Lucas Oil Drag Racing Series Tour this year, picking up a divisional final round appearance down south. Rick Brown, Tom Perdue, Tom Redditch in the gang out of Lebanon. B-Truck automatic, 318 cubic inch. Small block Chevrolet. Boys finishing this truck up back in 2001. Building it for what then was the Pro Stock truck category. Category goes away, and they just shuffled it into Comp Eliminator. With a little bit smaller engine of 318 cubic inches. 358 was the combination for the trucks back in the day. Very successful at this spot. I should say truck. Hustling it down track, giving chase to Jim Greenheck. That little C-altered automatic, 727. 185 mile an hour lap for Jim, 818 for Rick Brown. 163 miles an hour for Rick. Rick is 69 under the index. That's a strong run. Jim Greenheck, 66 under the index. Likewise. Nice lap down the racetrack for both of them. Rick Brown, Don Redditch take the truck to number 1. Jim Greenheck, the C-Tech aluminum cabinets machine, into the number 2 spot for now. But we're not done. We got a long ways to go. Here's 2 more B dragster automatics. Now remember, we had a couple of them. Greg Tabler and BJ Sexton go down track already. Had 7 of them in Indianapolis 3 weeks ago. There's Frank Cervelli and Tony Pontillo. Running out of Dons-Auto.com. The Kenosha-based runner, back where they built all them Ramblers years ago. 400 cubic inch Chevrolet, the blue machine, over here on the right-hand side. Cervelli out of Indiana. Shop manager for John Schumacher Racing. Pontillo's got problems. You can hear the engine popping. Cervelli motors through 690. 193 miles an hour. Nice run for Frank. 1341 for Tony. Pontillo, if you're scoring back in the pit area. Cervelli goes 55 under the index. And up to the number 4 spot. Me telling you earlier about the disparity and the variety in Comp Eliminator. What has 10 cylinders and 8 tires and wheels? This pair of race cars. 300 cubic inch inline 6-cylinder Ford, the 23T body style for Steve Ambrose. Bob Hoopman. Ambrose, Argenta, and Hoopman team. It's now Steve and Bob. 6-cylinder Ford. Pulling in alongside John Freck. 4-cylinder. Inline Pontiac. 175 cubic inch motor. Multi-time national event winners, both of them. Multi-time divisional event winners, both of them. Two very good race cars. Ambrose machine, a little move to the left. Steve steers it back into the groove. That 6-cylinder goes 784, 159. The 4-banger goes 826 at 157 miles an hour. 175 cubic inch 4-cylinder. Takes you down to quarter mile in 8.2 seconds at 150 plus miles an hour. That's moving. Of course, that 6-cylinder isn't bad either. 784. 159. Steve goes into the number 4 spot. Freck goes into the number 7 spot. Two more come to line. C Super Modified. Chevy Cobalt. JacksWax.com. Chuck Hallville over there on the left-hand side. The attorney out of Gahanna. That, boys and girls, is a Chevy Cobalt that started its life on a GM assembly line. Built with a little 4-banger underneath the hood. Got sent down the road to one of the race car shops. Converted it to rear-wheel drive. Put some big tubs in the back. Small block V8 engine mounts up front. Here we go with a C Super Modified car. Small block Chevrolet built by Jeff Taylor Race Engines. Chuck at the wheel. He's up alongside Jeremy Bailey, our 5th B Dragster automatic in competition this weekend. Jeremy, another runner out of Indiana. Time a 400 cubic inch plus GM power plant for the B Dragster automatic category. Dragster's got problem. Chuck goes 826. 160 miles an hour. Jeremy at 881 and only 94. And I say only 94. Because he was coasting as he went across the finish line. Here's Wes Leopold and Robert Bailey. Bailey, past champ down in Bowling Green of the Indy Gear Comp Eliminator Shootout. Won it last year. As drivers in comp earn points at every event going down the racetrack every year. Spitzer race cars, Indy Gear Shootout, won by Bailey. And of course, all the runners running this weekend, the Comp Eliminator Bonus Fund. Jerry Arnold Memorial. car makes a little sachet off the line. Robert lifts. West lifts. 989, 120 by Leopold. Should have been down in that high 7-second zone. 855 by Bailey. Should have been down in the 6-second zone. While the runners are shooting to get into this field, put their names on the sheet. Wes and Robert do, albeit down at the bottom. We'll see him come back a little bit later on today. Here comes Brian Simonek and his 4-cylinder Honda dragster. The racingblogs.com entry, F Dragster Automatic. He's up alongside Mike Farrell. Beautiful B Street Roadster. In the Comp Eliminator Bonus Fund, the Jerry Arnold Memorial Comp Eliminator Bonus Fund. Tip of the cap to all the participants, Indy Gear, Ray Skillman Motors, Liberty Gears, Tierney Auto Haulers, just some of the sponsors that make our Comp Eliminator fields here in Division 3 just a touch more in. Barrel going to the semi-final. Whoa! Car does exactly what it did yesterday, headed for the center stripe. Mike getting out of the throttle and driving it back. Simonek goes 871. 150 miles an hour out of that little 4-cylinder Honda. Wasn't the lap that he was looking for. Needs to be down in the low 8-second zone, but hey, that's the first shot, I do believe, this year for the dragster. 11:53 by Farrell. And again, our Comp Eliminator Bonus Fund, Bullet Racing Cams, RCE, Butner Auto Sales, Cohen Transmissions, Brow Bellhausen, Book Racing In, Billingsley Car Wash, Quick Fuel Technology, C-Tech Cabinets, Total Seal, Camplains Machine, and T.L. Smith Excavating. All of the sponsors that help make the Comp Eliminator Bonus Fund what it is here in Division 3 competition is Ron Bone, Troy Galbraith roll in next. Ron going to the semifinals yesterday as we finished up our Indy run. Troy's B Dragster Automatic. Here on the right-hand side, this is what, number 6? B Dragster Automatic, yep, 1, 2, 3, 4, yep, 6. New Spitzer chassis machine for Galbraith, number 7 in the country last year in Comp Eliminator racing. Ron over there on the left side. How many of you out there own a late model Chevy Trailblazer? That little 6-cylinder you got underneath the hood, well, take it out and put it in Ron Bone's dragster. It's basically what's happened. That's been warmed up, modified, fine-tuned, machined on a little bit. It's a 6-cylinder Chevrolet and a little skinny car there on the Summit side. Bone Motors through 759 at 173, 680 by Galbraith. Down at the other end of the racetrack, 195 miles an hour. And how about Ron Bone? Number 1 qualifier at Indy, number 1 qualifier here this weekend. 71 under the index with that machine. Hustling it right on down track. Troy Galbraith goes up to the number 4 spot. So it's Ron and Rick, Jim and Troy, Chuck and Dave, Steve and Frank, your top 8 qualifiers. Your Greg Camplain, Mountain Comfort RV entry, former D3 Comp champion, former D3 Super Comp champion. Todd France alongside of him. The F Supermod Automatic, again a car built by General Motors on an assembly line. Got over to France's place, Louisville, Kentucky, and he says, hey, you know what? We can make a race car out of this. Small block underneath the hood, Camplain, and yet our 7th B Dragster Automatic. Another Spitzer chassis machine. Another small block Chevrolet for motivation. France, who won it all yesterday as we finished up Indy, stands it up on the wheelie bars, drifts towards the center stripe, 682, 189 by Camplain. Nice lap down the racetrack for the runner out of Mountain Comfort RV sponsorship this year. 16:54 by Todd. It'll put him on the qualifying sheet, albeit not where he wants to be. So one session of comp in the books, and Ron Bone, like he did at Indy, slides into that number one qualifying spot with his J Dragster, that little six-cylinder Chevrolet. Our Brodix, Steve Schmidt, Top Sportsman Cars, getting ready to come up next. Their first shot at the racetrack for qualifying here this weekend, the 10th annual Cavalcade of Stars, presented by Budweiser. Getting ready to come at us. And checking things out there on the summit side of the racetrack. Quad coming down from the top end. Making sure everything good, clean, clear, and safe as we get ready to go. Opening round of our Top Sportsman qualifying. So a little track check going on, making sure everything's good, clean, clear, and safe. Top Sportsman Cars sitting and waiting patiently. Steve Jaeger, Larry Canolti, getting ready to come at us as we get ready to rock, roll, and rumble.
K&N now brings you an extreme duty oil filter, and the same engineering that goes into the world's best air filter has developed a premium oil filter that features a 1-inch nut on the bottom of the can for easier installation and removal. This high-flow oil filter protects some of the most expensive racing engines in the world. Shouldn't it be protecting yours? K&N oil filters are available at all automotive retailers. Find out more online at knfilters.com.
Track prep, tractor going down, put a little fresh drag on it, making sure there's no substances, fluids, loose pieces, parts, or anything out there. Guys come down from the top end to check the top end out. Tractor's working this end of the racetrack. And hey, you know what? We're going to be ready to rock, roll, and rumble here. Just one moment as we continue on with qualifying. Day number 2, 10th annual Cavalcade of Stars, presented by Budweiser here at Summit Motorsports Park. Getting ready to come at us, our Top Sportsman Cars.
When you want proven performance, there's one brand that's been around for over 75 years, Edelbrock. Building the finest American-made performance products for the street and track, Edelbrock's Total Power Package delivers dyno-proven parts for maximum results. Edelbrock has thousands of made-in-the-USA performance products for all makes and models. Visit Edelbrock.com to get your free 2014 Edelbrock Performance Catalog and to see what's available to take your ride to the next level.
All right, racers, you remember me talking earlier today about the most famous words in all of motorsports? Schedule subject to change? Well, here's a change. Super Street, your first round was tentatively scheduled for today. It has been moved to tomorrow. You will lead us off. Super Street, you will be out first tomorrow morning at 8:30. Round number one, Super Street, tomorrow morning at 8:30. Following Super Street, tomorrow morning will be round number one of Stock Eliminator. Following round number one of Stock Eliminator will be round number one of Super Stock. And that's what I know so far. Super Street will lead us off tomorrow morning at 8:30. Stock and Super Stock, first rounds of eliminations will follow. Super Gas and Super Comp, your first rounds of elimination, still scheduled for later on today. But again, the most famous words in motorsports, down at the bottom of the schedule, is schedule subject to change. Super Street, it is official. Round one, Super Street tomorrow morning, 8:30 to start us off. Stock Eliminator, round one behind. And Super Stock right behind that. And that will get Sunday, Fun Day, here at Summit Motorsports Park underway. Top sportsman cars in the lanes, drivers getting suited up and ready to go as we finish up our track prep in preparation for round number one. Top sportsman cars getting ready to fire up. Come around the corner to us. We'll be rocking and rolling them here in just a moment. As soon as we get the tractor off, doing a fresh drag, going down the track, making sure everything's good, clean, safe, and secure.
Hogan's Racing Manifolds would like to thank all of their past and present customers for making them such a success, as they are now celebrating over 41 years in business. One thing has not changed. They still take pride in each and every manifold they build. One of the ways that Hogan's Racing Manifolds likes to give back to their customers is by offering contingency for all NHRA national and divisional events. Though they have made their reputation in the racing field, Hogan's Racing Manifolds also builds manifolds for the street enthusiast and for show cars. Visit them online at hogansracingmanifolds.com, Facebook, or just give us a call today.
Jiffy Type, the preferred manufacturer of quick connect fluid fittings since 1963, is proud to once again be a major contingency sponsor of NHRA. Jiffy Type will be posting contingencies at national, divisional, and JEG Sports National events in support of the racers. Jiffy Type Quick Connect fuel fittings are approved for use in virtually all fuel, water, oil, and transmission systems in your race car. Unlike threaded fittings, Jiffy Tight Quick Connect fittings connect and disconnect in seconds with no tools and feature revolutionary valve technology at both the socket and plug for minimal flow restriction and added safety. In addition, Jiffy Tight's 100% leak-proof seals hold up under the most extreme racing conditions. Get the racer's advantage. Make the switch to Jiffy Tight Quick Connect fluid fittings today. Visit us on the web at jiffytightmotorsports.com.
Ah, yeah. You can hear the engines come to life. Steve Jaeger machine. The Monte Carlo. Which we all know is in Wisconsin because, well, the old London's in England. Larry Canolte out of Washington. The Hoosier State runner. 738 cubic inch Ford for motivation in this Ford Escort bodied machine in the right-hand lane. Larry's spent his days going down the quarter mile, both asphalt and liquid. And Canolte on the right-hand side. Jaeger there on the left-hand lane. As we get ready to go. Round one of qualifying, our Brodix. Steve Schmidt, top sportsman category. Guy's going to be down in the 6-second zone. Some of them over 200 miles an hour. Many of them over 200 miles an hour. We get ready to rumble. Monte Carlo bodied machine left side. Ford Escort ZX2 over in the right-hand lane. We are off and running with our top sportsman qualifier. Here we go. Side by side down the quarter mile, just the way we like to see it. 689, 197 Jaeger. 688, 203 by Canolte. So Larry goes to number one. Steve goes to number two. Larry's got his cell phone with him. He can hop out of the car down the other end and call home real fast and say, hey, I'm number one qualifier. Shane Cowan up now, the Corvette. C5 body style for the runner out of Medina Oral Surgery. And Kenny Langlois, violin-based runner. Transmission shop owner. Big motor Corvette, 632 cubic inch, 1963 bodied machine. Shane coming up on the left-hand side, 39 years young. Kenny's been at it a day or two longer. Runner's making a tow down from just a little south of Detroit, Island, Michigan. Got a pretty good little drag strip there in their own right. Boy over here on the right side. Cowan over there on the left. Corvette's the pair, late model and early model. Cowan's machine slowing right at the finish line, 7:19, 156. Guinea goes through 7:04 at 194 miles an hour. So Cowan, whose car was on a good run early, putting down some strong numbers, well out in front of Langlois' machine till just past that half-track mark. You can see it puff a couple of times. At that point in time, she started slowing down just a little bit. Tommy Harger and Roger Wellman are next pair up. Another Ford-bodied entry. This time, though, the power plant comes from the good folks at General Motors. Wellman over here on the right side. The Ford Probe entry. Big block Chevrolet underneath the hood. Harker making the tow over from Des Moines, Iowa. Coming over to finish up the race event from Indianapolis. Going to the late rounds, and then the car getting a little twitchy on him. We finished up Indy yesterday. Wasn't able to make the full run down the racetrack. Got to the late rounds of elimination. I'm sticking around saying, well, hey, you know, we got effectively for him, has 2 races this weekend. See what he can do. So Harger's Olds Cutlass. Does that X-Pro stock body style look good, doesn't it? Harger drifting out of the groove a little bit. Oh, hang on. Hang on. Roger Wellman's machine. Rattling the tires a little bit, getting a little twitchy and sideways. Nice job, Roger. Keep that car off the wall. The Ford Probe coming to a stop there at half track. Is Wellman's machine out of the gate. Rattling a little bit to the right. Swings it back around, comes across the right-hand side of the racetrack and comes to a stop. Wheels down, shiny side up. Nice driving job for Roger. Tom Harger goes 669 at 210 miles an hour, and that wasn't a perfect lap down the racetrack. The car drifting a little bit out of the groove, and he had to use the steering wheel to move it back in a little bit. But for Roger Wellman and that Ford Probe, great driving job to keep the car off the wall and get her stopped succinctly and be able to bring her back a little bit later if nothing's broke underneath.